guilty of crime.
And we're back. What's up, everybody? You know the drill. I'm Jay, your host with Guilty of Crime. Welcome in, everybody. Happy Monday. I know everybody missed me, and I missed you guys too. Happy late Mother's Day if I didn't get to catch you yesterday. Come on in, everybody. Hit that like button. Let's get hyped up. Subscribe if you haven't. Get a membership if you can. We got Vegas coming up, #1. And absolutely, we're going to get right into hashtag Find Nancy. Now, this is not just like, okay, here's 100 days of the Nancy Guthrie case. I'm just going to recap you. No, here's 100 days of the Nancy Guthrie case with shifting timelines, missteps, and Nanos' ego. Did that cost her life? That's what we're talking about today. All the twists and the turns and the things that are still happening and what's next. Also, Sheriff Nanos needs to be out. I want you guys to understand that he's a clown and they want him out without a vote. I'm going to get into that today because they want Sheriff Nano out so bad. They're reviewing the documentation and trying to find a loophole to get him out. And I will show you that. We'll talk about all that today, guys. How you doing? Come on in. Let's say hello to everybody. Also, we do have a goal. Let me say thank you, Marcy, for 20 months for being a member. Thank you. And secondly, we have a goal. And some of you might ask, well, what's the goal for? Or why did the goal go up? Well, the goal is to keep the channel going, right? Everything that it costs takes, as well as membership giveaways, merchandise giveaways, book giveaways, and everything that we try to do at the channel. During the holidays, we want to give away turkeys. During Christmas, we want someone to have a Christmas for their children, etc., etc. That's what we want to do here on Guilty of Crime. Now, I assure you, monetizing my channel isn't making me a ton of money. It does cost, and it goes right back into the channel. So, I'm very proud to say my channel has been monetized for 2 years, thanks to you guys and YouTube. YouTube is the one that compels us to do this. YouTube says, get your freaking memberships, get your freaking cash, your super chat, super stickers. They encourage it. You know why? Because they take 30%. That's neither here nor there. Come on in, guys. Hope everyone had a lovely Mother's Day. All right, justice for Nancy, you got that right. We need it because right now at day 100, there should never have been shifting timelines, egos, blocking the FBI. And at this point, guys, I'm going to say trigger warning and try not to get teary-eyed because that tribute to Nancy Guthrie from her daughter is heartbreaking. So before I go any further, I'm going to play that, and then we'll get into everything that you guys possibly need to know, maybe didn't know, want to know, or going to know. Yes, I'm glad you understand that, Lil Red. I see you're doing very well. You have 10,000 subscribers. I'm so proud of you. It's expensive to run a channel no matter what size. Exactly. But then you start doing giveaways, merchandise, and then you want the, HD, so you want it high def and you want good graphics. It's expensive, period. So, anyhow, I don't say that all the time. I said that to say this. I have a new goal and I had to go from the $2 to the $5 because hey, it's all good that I get 5 or 10 $2 memberships, but it cost me $15 just to ship my book to you without me going through USPS. USPS is like $9.83 plus time that it takes. So, guys, everything's expensive. I just wanted to break that down for you. That the new goal is what it is. It just, if you want to win stuff, get memberships. That's how it goes. All right, Lady for Justice, hit that like button. Thank you. The Nanos is French fry, short of a Happy Meal. Guys, okay, I'm going to start off real quick doing the tribute from Instagram of Savannah. And I'm not going to say a thing. All right, you guys watch this, and then I'm going to start in on Sheriff Nanos first and show you what he did and how much they want him out. And guys, I know. There were bones found near Nancy Guthrie's home, and I got 500 emails. It was debunked. I'm just going to show you real quickly on X, so you know those bones were at least 50 years old. It was just and rightfully so. I'm glad that they're I'm glad YouTubers are searching. I don't know why it's YouTubers and not law enforcement, FBI, EquiSearch, any of those. I don't know why, but this bone's over 50 years old. It's not Nancy Guthrie. If it were her, it would be a much better day than saying day 100. I feel like we're going backwards. All right. So let's start off with the teary, sad stuff because yesterday was Mother's Day and we really want to highlight. And also this guy, we're still looking for this guy or men. And I see 100 clickbait channels saying that this is either literally Tomasa or Annie or a mask. And I respect because everything's on the table at this point. We don't really have anything off the table. So let's start with this tribute to Nancy. You guys do me a favor and let's do the prayer hands. Say a prayer that she gets brought back to her home. At this point, I believe it's recovery, and so does Savannah. I also want you to know Savannah has something going on at the 100-day for her mother missing. But let's do this. I'll cut the music out later, okay? I just want you guys to see this properly right from Savannah's channel. And I'm gonna cut the rest of that out because we can, we're about to it. But guys, tell me that's not heartbreaking right there. I mean, if you're close to your mom, then you know. If you're not close to your mom, well, then you still know what a heartbreak is to not have your mother. And when I see these images and I see her hugging them, and then she sneaks in a kiss, and how little she is compared to her daughter Annie, it's just, guys, it's not a good day. It's not a good day for the Guthries at all. All right, and I'm sure that at this point, Nancy is with her maker. All right, I'm sure she's with her maker. I don't think we're going to be bringing her back, but if her remains could come back, that would be good. If we can get Nanos out of here and get some real law enforcement and FBI to take over, then we would be good. I know this is heartbreaking. I can't even. I know. That's the whole point. You guys know, when you guys see me here on a daily basis, you see my mom in chat. My mom is Mama Pearl, and I would be breaking down right now if this were me. And look at her mom. Her mom looks like Nancy Guthrie when she was younger. Looks so much like Annie. Guys, it's wild. Yes, hashtag find Nancy. We're going to talk about that because there's a map that Annie put out, and there's also terrain that hasn't been searched. So we're going to get to that, but we're going to show what a clown show this has been. All right, we're going to show a clown show today, and then what's happening now, the twists and turns, and the fact that they're scaling back. Yes, I said that right. They are scaling back their searches, guys, at day 100. So we're going to kind of revisit this. We're going to also look at the terrain and look at all new stuff. Danielle, good to see you. Come on in, guys. Hit that like button. StreamYard is being extra sensitive today. It didn't let me get on for like 5 minutes. So if it gets glitchy, I apologize for StreamYard. All right. And come on in, hit that like button. I also just got a haircut for y'all. I know. I still need to dye my hair. That being said, let's get to it. All right. Yes, find Nancy. You got it. Hello, everybody. All right. So first we're going to start off on just straight up 100 days. That's it. That's all. We've been looking 100 days. And guys, we were at least 4 to 5 days behind with Sheriff Nanos in the lead. We now know that he not only withheld DNA evidence from the FBI, but he also blocked them from coming into the case. But after you hear my spiel today and I read you and you see what's happening, there's supposed to be another press conference with Pima County Sheriff Nanos. All right, I can't wait to see what he says.
600 days since Nancy Guthrie has been missing. The Pima County Sheriff Department says the investigation is still very active, and the focus right now is on DNA. News 4 Tucson's Andrew Capasso has been covering this since the night Guthrie was first reported missing. He's live outside the home in the foothills with the very latest on where things stand.
Yeah, Robbie, good afternoon to you. Want to start with the tribute to Nancy Guthrie outside her home. We've been covering this since almost the day she went missing, February 1st. Fewer flowers out here, but you can see neighbors have come out here to take care of this tribute, which continues to grow here outside her home in the foothills. Now, where does this investigation stand? Well, investigators tell me right now they are still working with DNA labs across this country. That's where the bulk of the work is.
And guys, that is the bulk of the work, but I can't understand why they're not out there searching. And when you say searching what, I'm going to show you what they're searching. I'm going to talk about all of it. All right, we're going to get to all of it today. What's up, Allie? You know what? I'm drinking some green tea, like Sebastian Rogers likes his green tea. That's what I got today. Green tea, you're drinking water, we're good to go. Yeah, I'm drinking my Arizona green tea. I love it. And it's hot in San Jose. So look, 100 days since she's been missing. Let's listen in and see what's next.
This investigation is right now. We know from both the FBI and 88 Crime, the number of tips being called in is down, but some are still coming in. Of course, the big question, who is that person in that Ring doorbell video? Right. The more than $1 million in reward money still on the table right this second. And of course, this 100th day, a day after Mother's Day, Savannah Guthrie posting this video on Instagram Sunday, writing, quote, "Mother, daughter, sister, Nani, we miss you with every breath. We will never stop looking for you. We will never be at peace until we find you." She continues, "We need help. Someone knows something that can make the difference. Call 1-800-CALL-FBI. You can be anonymous.
And guys,
the reward remains available. Please keep praying." That from Savannah Guthrie Sunday on Instagram. Another part of this whole thing is the community out here.
Guys, there's a huge community and there's a huge presence of social media content creators out there. Yay, 2 years, member for exactly 24 months. Woo! All right. We'll yeah, can you imagine everyone? Melissa, I'll get back to you. Yeah, it's hot out in SoCal too, right? It's hot in NorCal too, man, right now. Okay, listen, so he's out there on the scene like many others, guys. We're on day 100. Okay, Nancy Guthrie went missing. 84-year-old Nancy Guthrie went missing on January 31st. Allegedly, her family dropped her off at her home around 9:45, which things keep shifting. Now, in the early mornings of February 1st, doorbell footage came, and doorbell camera was disconnected at 1:47 a.m. along with a pacemaker at 2:28, and authorities believe she was taken against her will. FBI releases this footage, and we're all up in arms because it's this guy. No, it's that guy. No, it's that guy. We detained two guys. We got emergency subpoenas. Yet nothing has happened at all. All right. Multiple outlets are talking about the public outcry of Chris Nanos to get out of there because he slowed us down. We have no identified suspects, no confirmed motive, and one piece of DNA evidence that is delayed. All right. So despite, guys, and I'm going to show you, I'm going to tell you that what Chris Nanos said. Chris Nanos literally said, we're closer to solving this case. And then in a separate breath, no. All right. So that's all they have. They have one hair sample recovered from Nancy's DNA that we know of that was sent to FBI for analysis, and Nanos blocked it. Now, experts say it could be used and will be used for genetic genealogy if that doesn't match known individuals. Right now, they're processing it. And because Sheriff Nanos did what he did, it could take months up to a year to come back. Right? You guys already know several alleged ransom notes, right? We still don't even know if that's true. And then family's plea on Easter, we will never stop looking for you, quote unquote. Someone knows something. And I agree. There's $1.2 million on the line, guys. And there are no more people calling in. What is up with that? Let's continue.
Just got done speaking with a neighbor. He says things here are dramatically different compared to what they were like before Nancy Guthrie was reported missing February 1st. Some things here have not changed. Of course, the tribute that I mentioned, also the parking restrictions. Those are still very much in place. Neighbors are calling when people are pushed off to or parked off to the side of the road. I've seen deputies just up and down the street, 5 or 6 of them in just the past 10 minutes, making sure that these streets are clear. Now, I just wrapped up, as I said, an interview with a neighbor here not long ago. We talked about what this community has been through and what things are like now, considering that's 100 days and there are still no concrete answers. We're going to hear from that neighbor and a new interview with Sheriff Nanos. It's coming.
Guys, if we can get that new interview with Sheriff Nanos before the end of this episode, that would be golden. So I've got 108 people in chat and all my mods. If you guys happen to run across the new Chris Nanos, I want to see what he has to say, because nothing he said so far has meant anything, and it's just caught him in lies. All right, that's what we're going to jump to right now. Before I do that, I'm going to debunk the junk, like we like to call it, and let everybody know we did not find Nancy's body, nor was that her bone. That was 2 days ago. All right. Many people messaged me and said, Jay, I think they found Nancy. They found a bone just miles from the house. And of course, that's where it stayed. Right. That's as far as it got for me. And I said, if that was, we would have heard about it.
All right. I don't know if I should keep digging. That's not.
But again, it's
mess anything up.
This is YouTubers. This could mess
up. Yeah, I'm going to have to call.
What if this were her? What if that was Nancy Guthrie's bone and these YouTubers are digging it out and their feet are around it, etc., right? This is where law enforcement and other EquiSearch, anybody that's searching, should be in these areas. All right. Why is it that a YouTuber was? Well, guys, this is not anything to do with Nancy Guthrie. It was determined to be a bone that was over 50 years old. It's not her, thank God. But at this point, it would be like, damn, I would almost want it to be her just so we can bring her home. All right. So let's officially debunk the junk by showing you this and making sure everyone understands we do not have Nancy's body, not her bones, and nothing remains. None of the remains have anything to do with this family. All right. 3 months after the Nancy Guthrie human remains found, 7 miles. All right. Tucson Police Department confirmed that human bone was not found. It was prehistoric in nature. Right. This is not a criminal investigation, says Horton, a spokesperson for Tucson. Hopefully you guys can see this. The bone was found by a streamer that runs a YouTube channel called AJW News. Guthrie, the mother of Today's Show, Savannah, was reported missing from her home on February 1st and has not been found since. All right. News Nation reported April the FBI was analyzing new evidence that included hairs found in Guthrie's home, according to the source close to the investigation. All right. So we got to debunk that real quick because I do not want people still thinking that. Right. And on top of that, there is clickbait everywhere. I can go on right now to YouTube and type in Nancy Guthrie, and 1 out of 10 videos are clickbait, which is insane to me. I don't even, I realize now why YouTube is cleaning up the streets and getting rid of the channels that are AI, because they're simply just lies and they're spreading misinformation specifically for money, guys. It's not people talking about it. There's no passion behind it. No one's looking for anything or doing anything. They're just creating clickbait to monetize their channel and get paid. We don't even know who's behind it. But before I say behind anything, I'm going to show you this a couple times, this joke of a man, and then I'm going to read you the article that he says they're closer to solving the Nancy Guthrie case. Now I'm talking about, he said that this morning. Or today at 3:38 p.m. It's 4:30 over here my time. At 3:38 p.m. Eastern time, he told everybody that they're closer to finding Nancy. Tell me if they are or not. Let me put this down. Take a look. This guy is
Good. It's Mother's Day on Sunday. I was wondering if you had a message for the Guthrie family.
Hold on. You can't hear it that well. We'll play it again.
Sir? You're okay? It's 100 days now almost, sir. Are you guys any closer to solving? Hey, Sheriff. How
One
are
more
you?
time.
Good. It's Mother's Day on Sunday. I was wondering if you had a message for the Guthrie family. Sorry, sir? You're okay?
He said I'm okay.
It's 100 days now almost, sir. Are you guys any closer to solving?
All right, this guy is just full of lies. Apparently, nothing that he says really goes. All right, and I don't know about anything with Savannah, anything new about what happened in the White House and the connections. I absolutely have not looked into that. So if chatters want to chat, go ahead and talk about it, but not on my channel without me doing the research. And you're right, Mr. David, he's the only person that's not held accountable for anything. Right, I'm held accountable for everything, and so are many other YouTube creators that are not sheriffs of the law. But he can say anything he wants, guys, and it gets written down. And look at that. Sheriff says authorities are closer to solving the Nancy Guthrie case. Can you even imagine? Can you imagine if Jennifer Coffindoffer, who's on the side of Savannah and the family's cleared, could you imagine her doing a whole episode off of this? Sheriff Nanos says we're closer than ever, all of us having hope. And then you see the video that I just showed you after. It's such a disgrace, guys. Just quickly. All right, today, May 11th at 3:38 p.m., Arizona Sheriff says authorities are closer to solving the Nancy Guthrie case. All right. Pima County Sheriff Chris Nanos said his department is closer to solving the disappearance of Nancy Guthrie. Now, as we know, she went missing. She was 84 years old on January 31st. It is the mother of Savannah Guthrie, the Today co-host. All right. Authorities believe Guthrie was kidnapped from her home in Arizona around sometime during the early mornings of February 1st. Arizona sheriff leading the investigation into the disappearance of Nancy Guthrie told a reporter that his department was closer to solving the case. Pima County Sheriff Chris Nanos also spoke to a Fox reporter on May 8th, and the reporter asked Nanos if the sheriff department was any closer to solving the disappearance of Guthrie as we approach 100 days. He said, "We are," as he got back into his vehicle. Now, Guthrie, 84 years old, has been missing since January 31st. Authorities originally believed she was taken against her will from her Tucson home in the early morning hours. But guys, I didn't know that this case was first initially being treated as a walk-off. It was being treated as an elderly person walking off. I'll show you, and we're going to talk about that as well, right? They also said that they had mixed DNA in blood DNA, but I haven't heard about that. They also say we believe we know why the kidnapper did this and believe that it was targeted, but we're not 100% sure, says Nanos. He's not even 1% sure of anything. So it'd be silly to tell people, don't worry about it. You're not his target. You could be. Don't think for a minute that because it happened to the Guthrie family that you're safe. No, keep your wits about you. This is coming from Sheriff Nanos, guys. Okay? Sheriff Nanos is saying this. Sunday, May 10th, yesterday, Mother's Day. We just saw the emotional plea from Savannah's Instagram. All right? FBI is offering a $100,000 reward, and we still continue with $1 million, as well as $500,000 donating to NCMEC that Savannah did. All right? And I'm so glad that Savannah did that, because she's basically showing them that they can't get away with, they're not going to be able to get away with this, and she has the money to back it. All right, so I'm going to show you one more of Chris Nanos, and then I'm going to show you what they're saying about him. They want him out, and this is up to date. So I'm going to play this one more time while I grab that video.
How are you? Good. It's Mother's Day on Sunday. I was wondering if you had a message for the Guthrie family.
I'm okay.
You're okay? It's 100 days now almost, sir. Are you guys any closer to solving?
I
Hey,
think
Sheriff,
we
how
are.
you? Good. It's Mother's Day on Sunday. I was wondering if you had a message for the Guthrie family. Sorry, sir? You're okay? It's 100 days now almost, sir. Are you guys any closer to solving?
He's okay, guys. He said we are, and he's okay. If he said we're okay, then we're okay. Now, I say that to lead you straight to this. All right. Pima County supervisors are ready to not only review Nanos's answers, but to vacate him from the office. Thank God. And we're not talking about needing, 100 or however many, 120,000, whatever it is, whatever amount they need. That's not what they're asking for. They're trying to get him vacated out of his office based on his shit response and how he messed this investigation up. All right. So let me pull this up and show you what they're ready to do to him.
Operations to review answers from Sheriff Chris Nanos. At least 2 supervisors now say the document they have could lead to a move to vacate the office of the sheriff. News for Tucson's Andrew Capasso is outside of the Sheriff's Department on the south side with a first look at where things stand now.
This is the latest chapter in the back and forth between the supervisors and the sheriff. These are the lengthy answers supervisors will review next Tuesday. And tonight, at least 2 Pima County supervisors say there's enough here to start the process to vacate the office of Pima County Sheriff. The answers to questions ranged from the time Sheriff Chris Nanos spent with.
Now, you guys might think, oh, I already saw this, but you haven't, because they're reporting on it again. Okay, this was on Saturday. They put this out in response to his response. So today's Monday, and Mondays take a little while to, get things kicked up. I'm in California, so things might have happened earlier or still continuing. Tucson girl says, I feel so much better knowing Nanos is okay. Whew. For a moment there, I was worried about him. I know, right? Into his car, going to basketball games, working out, heavily focused on what? I got that. Oh, in the bushes, I'm already on that, my friend. Already on that. The Swords of New Nation and the Chris former cop. He was a former county. I'm going to get to that. Let's finish this. Thank you for being here in the bushes. You guys do me vacate today. All right, guys, come on, hit that like button, subscribe, get a membership. We have 141 people in chat, and we have nothing towards the goal. Come on, we can do better than that. We can get some memberships, give some memberships, super chat, super sticker. Come on. All right, let's continue.
With El Paso police to the work here with ICE and treatment of political opponents. All of this goes under the microscope with these supervisors behind closed doors Tuesday. And now, days before that meeting, both supervisors Matt Hines and Steve Christie say they support any way to remove Sheriff Nanos from the office. But not everyone on this board may feel that way.
Does indeed potentially open up the opportunity to take further action. That action is not something I can do alone. This is something the board will have to discuss
tonight.
Now, as this continues and people move forward in kicking him out of the office, it's starting to sway from look at all the mistakes that he made to the mistakes that he's making now. So he lied and did all this stuff previously to get in office, but he botched this case, and he had botched at least the first 4 to 5 days. Thanks, Mama Pearl, getting kicked off with the $4.99 super sticker. Come on, guys. No, I'm no way saying any family member suggesting police were involved at all. So, wait, who said that? Who's saying that? In the bushes? I was just reading what you said. I don't know. We're not doing conspiracy theories here. Facts are much appreciated around here.
Well, Hines and Christie support it. Rex Scott and Andres Cano say they have no comment. I didn't hear back yet from Jen Allen.
This is really unprecedented stuff, right? No county officer has ever been removed using this statute.
It's been on the books since the 1870s, before Arizona was a state. It lets supervisors require reports from county officers and potentially remove them for noncompliance, something Hines says the sheriff did by not providing these under oath. And I asked the Sheriff's Department about all of this today. They say, quote, "We will respectfully wait for the board's decision before commenting on the matter." On the south side.
It's coming, guys. It's coming. He's doing a terrible job. Thank you so much, Krista. Thank you. Says great job. And Vicky, thank you. Everything's appreciated and just goes back to the channel. So I appreciate you guys. All right. If you can't gift a membership, get a membership, whatever, don't feel bad. And please don't apologize in chat. All right. We don't just come, you do your thing, hit that like button. It's free. And whatever you can do, you can do. All right. I just want you guys to know as we build this community, that's how we roll. All right. All right. Thank you guys. Thank you very much. All right. Now check this out. Let's get to this real quick. And everything is coming from today. Let's see. Did you find out anything about the adult protective? Yes, I did. I didn't hear a complaint in the bushes. The adult protective services card in what happened. What I found out about the card was that here's 110% what happened. The adult protective services complaint that came on the door that you saw because, and I bet you 50% of you didn't know this, they treated this case as a walk-off from the beginning. From the beginning, when you look at the paperwork and what they're reporting on, when I say they, people behind the scenes and law enforcement, that is not Chris Nanos, say that the first 24 to 48 hours, they called it a walk-off. They said an elderly lady walked away and may have been confused. They did not treat it as a kidnapping. They did not treat it as a homicide. They did not treat it as foul play. They did not do any of that. They treated it as adult protective services needed to be there because she walked away. Did you guys, anybody else hear that? Because that's what's going down. That's what happened. That's why that was on the freaking door, because they needed to do their part. All right. They thought that she walked away into this terrain, which, by the way, in this terrain, I got to tell you guys, this is where they should have been looking the whole time, and they didn't. Yes, I bet half you didn't know that. I didn't even know that. All right, now listen, check this out. Let me tell you real quick, short answer. I say, what mistakes did Nanos make in the Nancy Guthrie case? All right, Chris Nanos has been accused of several major mistakes and credibility during the Nancy Guthrie investigation, including perjury about his past disciplinary record. Guys, he beat someone almost to death. That was handcuffed. Secondly, misleading statements about his law enforcement history and tension with the FBI over the investigative access. He did not give them access for at least 4 days. All right. So these issues have fueled calls and for his resignation to get him out now. And tension with the FBI is not helping, guys. All right, it's not helping. His records show he was suspended several times for unnecessary violence, guys, and tardiness. All right, and we're not even talking about before. We're talking about now losing the confidence of the community by just straight up lying to us. All right, let's check this out. Before I even hop into this, I just want you to see what I'm talking about. Nancy Guthrie case. Former cop shows how missing mom could vanish just yards from her home. Okay. She could have vanished and went yards from her home by somebody kidnapping her through these terrain areas that are, you'll see what I'm saying. I'm from Cali, so I don't know this. So walking down a desert path carved through the neighborhood, just a mile and a half from her home in the Catalina foothills is where they could have taken her through. Why haven't they been out there searching? And what is up with that map that Annie wrote? Let's listen.
The Steel Across America tour is incredible.
We have a piece of steel.
Hold on, they're giving me commercials, and this is not YouTube, so I just want you to see, because this officer is a former Pima County officer. All right, the one that's talking in this.
As my brother's soul.
Come on, Steel Across America. We got 8, 7, 6. We're not muted, guys. I'm just trying to get this ad to go away that I can't. All right, here we go. Retired SWAT commander in Pima County. All right, I want you guys to hear what he has to say.
100 yards, 150 yards east-west between the nearest houses. But you can throw something under the tree right there in this brush right back here. No, this is the type of place, even though we're in the middle of a neighborhood, well, we're probably 100 yards, 150 yards east-west between the nearest houses. But you can throw something under the tree right there in this brush right back here. No, we could walk past. I guarantee you we've walked by things that are probably suspicious in nature. Dead animals, things like that. And you're just not going to see them. The terrain itself acts as a natural hide for things, even with airplanes.
Now, let me remind you a couple of things. Number one, they treated this as if Nancy got confused and walked off. So there was no kind of alarm or alert, silver alert, right? In San Jose, there's a lot of silver alerts. What's up? Just one time. And our boyfriend, Chief Rocca, is back. Good to see you, buddy. It's been a while. Clementine, I always know how to get you out of the bushes, my friend. All right. Yeah, this guy knows what he's talking about. Yes, he's former Pima County. He knows what he's talking about. Everybody knows what they're talking about more than Nanos. So that's what we're talking about today. Shifting timelines, missteps, and Nanos' ego. Did that cost Nancy's life? I'm going to answer that as a yes. You make the decision after today's episode.
Even with the FLIR that we have, the infrared, you're looking down, you can't see through a lot of different things. So it's not going to see something that might have been stashed underneath some of this brush.
Nope. Like the bones.
You talk about time frames elapsing, temperatures and all that stuff. That all goes into why it becomes exponentially more difficult to find people and things out in environments like this as time goes on. Even if it's sort of remotely attached to this case, I'm going to find out if anybody searched this area. If they hadn't, I'm going to come down here. Now, again, we're not going to be able to move every brush, but I'm going to come down here with a reasonable amount of people, resources.
But listen, he's telling what he's going to do and what he wants to do. But I want you guys to know or understand that people are out there. YouTubers are out there. If I were in the area, I'm a YouTuber. Hey, I'd be out there too. All right. Yeah. How in the world did Annie come up with that route? We're going to go over that again. And what about Savannah's game show? We're getting to that right after this as well. If you just rolled in, we've been in here for 39 minutes. And guys, we're just getting started. So do me a favor, hit that like button, subscribe, get a membership, and hype the channel if you can. All right. I always try to get to you guys, even if you're not a crime crew member or not. We want everybody to understand what the hell is going on. Yeah, if I lived out there, I'd be searching too. And I know Mama Pearl would kick my ass. I'd say, okay, Mom, after 2 miles, because she does like 5 miles and it's crazy. Thank you, Rhonda. I do appreciate that. All right, let's check out this terrain and see what this former SWAT member in Pima County is saying about the disappearance of Nancy Guthrie and the search. You ask what search? I say, I don't know.
Walk it like we're doing now, get some people off in the brush, set up a skirmish line. Just, you're looking for anything that's out of place. It might be a broken limb. It might be, you know, a rock that's kicked over that you say, all the other rocks are different colored. That one got kicked over for a reason. Let's check this area. But, you know, it would probably take months with 100 people to do a when I say a thorough search every inch of this little half-mile grid that we've walked down this wash. As you can see how difficult that's going to be. You're going to have to move all of this stuff, and you know, it's then a balancing act at the top. What resources go where?
I mean, can you imagine doing this out there just to help the family? These people are out there doing this out of the kindness of their heart and being heartbroken. They're also offering, yes, that's what I'm asking. Sousy, that's what I'm asking. Why no ground search? But I'm going to tell you why, because we're going to talk about the what happened in this case as we're in the 100-day and all the missteps and all the mess ups. Why no ground search? Because Sheriff Nanos has blocked EquiSearch and anybody else that has tried to help. All right. So we are going to talk about all that. We're still getting there. We're still getting to it. All right. Thank you guys for being patient with me.
Is it more viable that this happened in the wash, or should we use those resources to follow up on leads that are being called in and things like that? No, this is pretty normal for Tucson, for these types of neighborhoods. Like I said earlier, the wash is bigger than I thought it was. You know,
what happened? Totally just froze up on me, guys. Can you guys see me?
Just looking in front of us now, you're looking at probably 30 feet wide, at least, if not more. You can drive a semi down this thing if you wanted to, you know. That surprised me because typically these washes are a lot more narrow and they have some of the canyons, you know, to our left and some of the little cliffs. That typically comes down into them. So this is a large one. Easy to drive, easy to walk, but also at the same time, easy to be seen. If someone's above us right now, the big open area, we're going to be more visible. And now that it's starting to narrow down, this is more typical of like the neighborhood washes that run. And sometimes they run a block, sometimes they run a half mile, quarter mile that we're on now, but hundreds and hundreds upon these throughout the county and the city, if not thousands. They're just.
And I don't know, because I don't talk to the people on the YouTube channel that found the bones. How in the hell did they find those bones that do look like a leg bone or some kind of long bone that we don't know? How did they find that? But law enforcement hasn't found anything. It's all the YouTubers finding gloves and things that you wear in your shoes, etc.
Literally everywhere. It's just the nature of the terrain, the way the geography was made. What, 2 miles, a little bit less, driving from Nancy's house. Familiar with the area? We're here within 5 minutes. And you could get into that. We could drive down this road for 10 seconds and be completely out of sight from any roadway. So then you now have what you need, which is time and some cover
to get out.
Prying eyes. Yep. Something went wrong and they want to get rid of her. This could be an area. I think they'd have to be very familiar with it, because you're not going to stumble upon this area from Nancy's house, but it's close enough to where if you did some scouting days and weeks at a time, which there's some evidence that says they might have been out here prior to that night, this would be an area that I would look at and say, all right, let's figure this.
Now think of it. We're 100 days out and we're talking about this today. Why didn't they do that in the beginning? I don't know. We're going to talk more about Nanos incompetence. Boston Squirrel, what's up? From California to Massachusetts. Thank you. Yeah, we're just digging around, you know, but you know how bad that could have compromised the crime scene if that were Nancy? All right. Can you imagine? What's up, Sadie's mama? Also, always a pleasure to have you.
This out. At this point, I can't imagine saying no to anyone offering help. Whether it be cadaver dogs, the Cajun Navy has popped up again.
Yep.
Those are just extra feet on the ground that I don't have to pay, quite honestly. Maybe if they find something, awesome. We probably wouldn't have found it. If they don't, great.
But guys, Savannah has money. She has lots of money. I'm sure she could take easily the $1.2 million reward they're offering and pay people to come search. Why is that being shut down?
You know, I personally would be accepting some of that help. There's no reason not to at this point. Early on, I could see why the sheriff would say, hey, I don't want you in the neighborhood searching. That's still, you know, that's still a scene. Let the professionals deal with that.
There's nothing professional about his team, though. So there's that. All right, I'm going to put you over here. First, let me bring this out because now we're getting all kinds of stuff like this that we didn't know about. Ooh, I just got blasted in my ear. Okay, so I didn't even know about this map until I covered this case on, was it Friday? Anyway, choo choo. Thank you. Dedication to the subs for channel expenses. Late happy Mother's Day. Thank you so much. I do appreciate you. Much love to you. And you know what? You've been here long enough to know what we do on this channel. All right. All right. Now check this out. I'm showing you this because I just want you to see that we looked at this last week. And when we looked at it, you could take two routes. You could take that route, which would be very much in the middle of nowhere with a lot of dips and curves and dark areas, or you could just go straight up and out. So I'm wondering, how did Annie Guthrie come to give this to police? And why would somebody that's kidnapping an 84-year-old lady go through that type of terrain and area? All right. It's okay, Colleen. It's all good. All right. So check this out. We're going to do a little bit of online sleuthing real quick, just to, pique our interest and curiosity of the things that have come out in this case. Now, this was only on May 4th. Is this even still considered a piece of evidence? I don't know if you guys saw this, but the van in the area that they found, people are saying, and they don't know if it was abandoned, put there purposely, or even ruled out. All right. So look at the Kia. It's a van. I don't know why it says Kia, if it's a Kia van or what, but so there's the map. Oh, there it is. So look, we got we got the map now. Check the map out. The map is just turned sideways. All right. The map is turned sideways. When you look at that map, you see the blue here. Hold on. Look at that dark blue line. There's the path. There's the path. There's the route. It's just facing up. All right. So check this out. I'm going to do this. All right. What's up, Ben? I'm going to do this. I'm going to put this on so you can see it's laying sideways and it's coming around into all that. All right. Now look at this. Let's go back. Let's go back to not my face. Let's go back to this and take a look. Instead of it being sideways, it's straight up and down. So the path that Annie's saying that they took would be the one going off to the left through all the different terrain and Sugar Hill, etc., rather than straight out of the back, a straight shot, right? Either way you look at it. Okay? Right? Oh, baby Guilty loves to buy chocolate. Don't even get me started on that, Sadie's mama, or anybody for that matter. Okay, so now I see the map that I can see that it's up and down. This one is horizontal is Annie's and this is vertical. And I can't switch it. So that's the map versus Annie's. Annie says that they would have taken that way, but we're looking here at a van, at a possible van that could be involved. All right. I know YouTube is weird tonight. It wouldn't even let me get on. Okay, so check this out. So we're looking at that map, and they're kind of showing where they could have come from, where they could be if you know this area. And if you saw this, they found a stolen van that was dumped in the alley, and they're wondering, did they get prints from it? What happened with it? Did law enforcement happen? This was February 1st that they talked about this. I have not heard a word about this. We didn't hear anything again until May 4th. All right. Again, I'm not going to go deep into these things. I just want to show you what the hell is going on. I know. So look at this. I mean, this is how many times now are we seeing guys through the Ring doorbell coming up and being weird, doing weird shit, trying to look at this came from. Now, this was posted on April 19th. It came on 3/31/26, and it was 3.7 miles away from Nancy Guthrie's. There's so many of these damn things, and there's so many people that were detained and so many search warrants. How is that possible? How is that possible that we have no leads? I know it sucks. It does seem like a bad neighborhood, but from what I can tell, it's not. All right, so let's continue. I just wanted to show you a couple things. Guys, on May 9th, 2 days ago, they did show the deed, Nancy Guthrie's deed, and there is no person of interest that was found in Pima County records for Nancy Guthrie. However, that doesn't matter because it only costs $150 or so to get a POA and take over. Now, I ask you, what are they doing? So you can see here, Nancy Guthrie is the purchaser. That's the deed, JP Morgan, of her house. And it looks like she paid off her house back then. This is the deed. It's an unofficial copy of the deed, and they say amount of note is $150,000. Right? Then they go and describe the deed of the trust. I can't tell if it's saying she paid this off or that's how much was left, but original note was $150,000 back in 2002, which may have been when she took a second out or something like that. All right. Nanos had extra deputies to patrol Nancy's neighborhood for cars parked on the street. If no extra deputies can patrol at night to deter, right? There's more cases coming, more criminal cases coming that are not connected. So anyhow, there's the official record of the deed in Nancy Guthrie that it's under her name, but a POA, not a POS, right? Power of attorney doesn't cost much. You can literally go right in and get it taken care of, or you can sign a fake one and forge the signature. All right. So that's not really a thing. Then I just love to look at stuff like this because it blows my mind. And you know, I'm not a conspiracy theorist. So what is that? What is going on here? Why are we so far out there that we're looking at Epstein files, stuff that's happening to Trump, and then we're literally looking at, is it possible for Sheriff Nanos to have been at the door? I mean, we shouldn't even be thinking that. POA has to be signed before she disappeared. Yes, Lil Red. But I ask you this. How in the heck are they taking over the house without a power of attorney? Who's paying the water bill? Who's paying the pool guy? Who's paying the second on the mortgage? Who's keeping the lights on? And how are they doing so? Is it with their own money, or is it a power of attorney because she went missing? I'm a boss, bitch. What's up? Good to see you. Look at that. I mean, look at what we're looking at. It's hard to unsee this because when I see it, I'm like, oh shit, that could be Sheriff Nanos. But then again, it could be Luke, right? You see what I'm talking about here? And yeah, freaking candy. You guys talk about chocolate. I got an email from YouTube. They sent me jewels. So cool. I'm trying to send them. I don't know anything about jewels, but I just want to kind of show you what's going on behind the scenes of people's theories, right? I mean, right here, we got 4 hours ago regarding the Nancy Guthrie case. I suspect Tommaso Cioni, and this is what I've always suspected, guys, that crew, all right, Tommaso Cioni and band members, Dominic Evans, Walter Concalves Jr., all three bandmates back from the early Black. Concalves is now a federal public defender, and his office is 8.9 miles from Catalina Foothills. Now, again, this is coming from X. So I'm just looking at it, and of course it's getting my attention. I've told you guys from day one, I thought that Tommaso Cioni and the crew that he runs with have a hand in this. All right. Now, Early Black is a post-punk band formed in 2007. All right. By Dominic Evans. He played the drums. Tommaso Cioni, bass vocalist, and Walter Concalves Jr. was the guitar vocals. The group is known for No Way Out and Model Explosion. We've gone over that, but you start looking here and it's like, damn, everything matches everything, right? Now, I'm not trying to blame. I'm definitely not going to sit there and be like, yeah, Concalves Jr. did this, right? 9 miles away. I'm just showing you what's being said, what's happening when law enforcement is doing nothing. All right, now here goes the human bone a streamer near the Guthries had found, and it appeared to be a part of the crime scene. Hold on. I just saying.
So we're still waiting on a detective to show up?
Yeah, we're waiting for everybody, I guess.
Okay.
So that's what we're doing right now.
All right.
All right, so let's continue. I just
So we're still
really
waiting on a detective.
when I go through all this stuff, I'm like, I gotta show you guys. All right, May 7th, Brian said I never had never heard him dropping a S-bomb. Brian Etten said this case has gone to shit. Now we're not gonna watch that because it's just regurgitation, but I got something new for y'all. Don't worry. This weekend, oh my God, there was 12 to 16,000 people watching the interview room. All right, lots of theories out there, lots of theories. So he describes this as a miscommunication. This is Aaron Cross backtracks his statement that contradicted Savannah's story. Now he describes it as a miscommunication, saying the person or deputy, I'm assuming, that was at Nancy's the day she went missing told him that initially the family said she walked away. But since then, it has been clarified by the family said she may have been taken away voluntarily, possibly by an Uber or ambulance. I want to know what your guys' thought is. I'm going to play this for a minute and 8 seconds. I did not know that, guys. I did not know they treated this case as a walk away, or that that maybe she got in an ambulance and took off. Anyone would plainly see that was not the case, because two things. Number one, Annie called Savannah 3 hours later and told her what she told her. This is not something that mom just walked away from. She knew there was blood on the front and the back doors were propped open. All right, you got it, Ben. You got it. What's up, Arrow in the Garden? Good to see you. Happy Monday, my friends. All right, how did she exactly cuff you? I didn't even know that. And when people keep talking about the adult services card, that's what it was from. They thought she walked away. All right, let's dig in for a second.
You were quoted as saying that understanding. So let's talk a little bit about that, because you were quoted as saying that the family said at first to the deputies that Nancy Guthrie may have just walked away. Savannah Guthrie, in her interview with NBC, said something to the effect of like her mom didn't have the ability to do that. So what is?
Well, by the time Savannah said that her mom didn't have the ability to do that, her sister Annie and Tommaso were the ones that, now the timeline has changed, that say they called 911 just minutes after they walked into the house. Guys, I'm telling you, it keeps changing. My title is not clickbait of shifting timelines. It's actually shifting timelines. And yes, it does keep going back to Tommaso and his group of cronies. All right. Those group of people, it keeps coming back. But that's the thing, is they had control of the narrative. Annie and Tommaso were the first ones on the scene, allegedly. They called 911 and they had control of the narrative. The narrative that they told to Savannah is not the same as the narrative that they told law enforcement allegedly here. All right? Because he's telling us, this guy right here is telling us that he told the world, and he's apologizing, that she just walked away or went into an ambulance. There should not be that many stories. All right? And then I'm going to show you Savannah announcing her new spring gig. Yes, she's going to be on a show. It's not rumors.
It's the confusion there. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Sure. So it was kind of a miscommunication. I've since spoken with Mr. Brian.
Okay, guys, I would be furious if my mom were missing and there was a miscommunication in the first 24 to 48 hours. I would be, and especially if I had millions of dollars at my disposal, I don't even want to say what I would be doing right now. Let's continue.
And then he's going to clarify in his next video, I believe. But the person that was there that day told me that the family initially stated that she had walked away. And drilling down on that further, it was clarified that what he meant to say was that the family said that she may have been taken away voluntarily, possibly by an ambulance to a local hospital. So,
man.
Apologies for the miscommunication there and the mistake. So
I apologize for the miscommunication in the first 24 to 48 hours, the most crucial time of any investigation, and one where an 84-year-old woman was literally bleeding on the porch, and you left the mat down there and you started investigating as what? That's why adult services were there, guys. And he's telling us.
Try to clarify and correcting mistakes.
I'm sorry about that.
So,
that's not something you can apologize for.
Reaching out to Mr. Enton and some other podcasters, just making sure they're aware of the truth. Clearing that up as best as possible. And the walk away initially, that was believed by deputies initially responding before they had any information, just because we have so many of them. And when you hear of if an 86-year-old woman who lives alone, you naturally think that they have some degree of mobility. And so they initially approached it with search and rescue assets for that reason. But yeah, it sounds like the family was was saying that she may have been taken away either by an Uber or an ambulance or something. And so they were reaching out to local hospitals to see if she was there.
Oh, they reach out to the hospitals. I didn't mean to make it that fast, but let's check this out real quick. A complete lack of urgency. And what's up, Sandwich? Good to see you. It's been a while, my friend. I'm glad you're here. All right, take a look at this. Let's see the missteps. Some of these missteps here. All right, look at this is I had to show you this. As per timelines have been released by Pima County Sheriff's Office and Sheriff Nanos in the press conferences. Let me just tell you a little story with Guilty of Crime. Now, this is 100% what's happening here. Okay. Yeah, absolutely. They certainly did. And the time keeps changing. Now, look, even the time has changed here with the press conference. Press conference number 1, the very first one on February 2nd, Nanos said 9:45 in the evening. Her children left her off at some time earlier that morning. They got a call and said, hey, your mom's not here. The family went to the house, and I'm guessing they got here around 11, spent some time searching, and realized they needed help, and they called 911. I've never heard anything like that except for in this press conference by Nanos. All right. Then press conference number 2. All right. Second press conference on February 3rd. Nanos says Nancy was dropped off. Now he changes it to 9:30. And she was found to be missing at about 11 o'clock on Sunday morning. This is not helping our timeline, and it's not helping your credibility, sir. Third press conference. Nanos refers to the timeline and says at 11:56 a.m., the family checks on Nancy, discovers her missing, and at 12:03 p.m., 911 is called into Pima County, and I believe approximately 10 to 12 minutes later, patrol teams arrive and they see the scene, and we start our response with our search and rescue teams. That's a lie. All of that is contradictory, and it's a lie. And I'm going to tell you why it's contradictory and a lie. First, we just heard that it was kind of a silver person missing situation. Secondly, we've been following the timeline closely, and we've been saying, damn, why did Annie and Tommaso wait 51 minutes? Almost an hour they waited to even call law enforcement, and 3 hours to call Savannah. Okay? So you guys remember that. You've been here, right? You guys been on my channel watching us talk about this, correct? All right, I gotta get it out, because if this were my mom, I wouldn't be happy with this. I'm gonna show you the timeline and what he says, and then we'll move on. All right, so this is different. Now, approximately January 31st, 2026, we know that Nancy traveled to the family's home via Uber. Not much, it doesn't say in here, it just says that. Then it says family, which is Tommaso, 9:48, family drops Nancy off at home, and the garage door closes 2 minutes later. We never heard that they walked her in. All we know is she went in the garage, and then the garage closed. Now we go to February 1st, and we hear 1:47 a.m., the doorbell camera disconnects. And then at 2:12 a.m., the software detects a person on camera. They say no video available due to the subscription. But then minutes later at 2:28, her pacemaker app shows it was disconnected from the phone. Now, it changes in this timeline because they say that 11:56 a.m., the family checked on Nancy. Before this, it was earlier in the day, and it took 51 minutes. Now, Sheriff Nanos is back in the family and saying that the family checked at 11:56 a.m. and 7 minutes later, they called 911. And by 12:15, patrol arrives. Again, still hours before they call Savannah. Okay?
Can you give us a little bit more of a timeline? Because you said she didn't leave on her own. She was last seen at 9:45.
Hold on, let me get back to that.
Can you give us a little bit more of a timeline? Because you said she didn't leave on her own. She was last seen at 9:45. She wasn't reported missing until noon. But
I believe what happened there was at 9:45 in the evening, her children left her off. At some time earlier that morning, they got a call from somebody at the church who said,
now, I hope you guys are I am not a sheriff. I have never been law enforcement. I'm just a YouTuber that sees things and puts it together for content and entertainment purposes. Right? Right. Okay. And I agree. I believe this was absolutely targeted and an inside job. Now, Nanos is saying, that's a big difference. 9:45 until the time she goes into the garage, which would be, instead of 2 minutes, it would have given them what? Her 15 minutes to walk in, let somebody walk in, bring her stuff in, open her door for her. That's a huge discrepancy. All right. And listen to him bumbling around. What? What are you saying? Be clear.
At some time earlier that morning, they got a call from somebody at the church who said, hey, your mom's not here.
This mother trucker didn't know anything. I have a feeling he came back from working out at the gym and was looking at his basketball game scores, and they came up here and he just went on the damn stage and did his press conference. This guy back here is like scratching his nose like, dude, this guy's wrong. He's got it, but he's fucked it up.
The family went to the house. I'm thinking they spent some time looking for her themselves before they called us. So I'm guessing maybe they got there around 11. So they did some searching and realized we need some help, and they called 911.
Do you have any idea what time Nancy would have been taken from the home?
There's a lot of things working there, and I just can't say that right now.
Can you imagine? Just imagine. I don't even want you to, but just for a second.
Not belong in that house. The window of time from when she was last seen to when she was reported missing, and I know you guys are asking for help from the public. Is there any way to narrow down what time you might be helpful? I know there was a report about a pacemaker dinging like around 2 o'clock in the morning. Is there any way to indicate to people, hey, look around 1 a.m. or 2 a.m. to help them identify what they might have?
You know, I really don't want to get into narrowing down the time, because now
I don't really want to get into narrowing the time, guys, because I didn't do my research before I came and gave a press conference. Even the guy back there is looking at him like, this is a bumbling idiot. What do you mean? If this were my mother that was missing and I was watching this press conference and he said, well, we're narrowing in on a time, I can't really say, and then he gave me 3 different timelines, I would want his head on a silver platter. Just saying. Let's continue.
narrowing it down means we could miss some tips and leads. We're working on with the data we've submitted for investigative analysis. We're working to see if that time can be tightened up. But for now, we're going with what we told you earlier. She was dropped off at 9:30 and she was found to be missing at about 11 o'clock Sunday morning.
Not belong in that house. The window of time from when she was last seen to when she was reported.
Sorry. Okay, so we just saw those, and then
gathered.
Here we go.
That we've gathered, and you look at some of this, and I know you're going to say, "Well, why did it take you so long to get this to us, Sheriff?" Well, because one thing, it's got to go out and be processed at different lab sites. And sometimes that stuff.
I just want to make sure this is documented. All right. I just want to make sure it's documented. And then we're going to continue on the 100 days of shifting timelines, missteps, Nanos' ego, and did that cost her life? All right. I'm guessing. What do you mean you're guessing, bro? You were just at a basketball game. And then after that, when they tried to get a statement, he was rolling into his midlife crisis car. Come on, guys. It's along that timeline. Oh my God, don't know.
Stuff comes back to us, and like you, we have questions, and we say, "Wait a minute, what is this about? What about this? Could it be that?" And so it's sent back, or it's sent somewhere else. So, and that's happening with all of the things we see. That process, that review, and that questioning of, all right, what is it we're looking at? So I'll go over it with you. You can see it on the board there. But at about 5:32 p.m., these are approximate times. 5:32 p.m. Nancy travels to her local family's home for dinner and playing games with the family, okay? Just visiting. At 9:48 p.m., which is very consistent to what we were told by the family, that Nancy was dropped off at home, and we know that because we have a
we know that they I think it was around 9:45 or so, I imagine. But I've been doing my investigative research, and according to the analysis of the terrain, there's a map over there that I was given. I don't even know which way to read it. But hey, got any questions? Oh no, I can't answer that. Sorry. Next. Okay. No. Yeah. Who are you? Has anyone ever seen the movie? It's a SNL movie, and he goes in front of a class, in front of the school, and the kids are asking him questions. He's like, "Oh, you. Oh, next." Never answers a question. That's him, right there. Thank you, Under Your Scars. I appreciate it. Is this not ridiculous? We watched this intently.
Garage door open at approximately, I can't stress that enough, at approximately 9:48 p.m. At 9:50 p.m., that garage door closes. Because that time we assume that Nancy's home and probably going to bed. Sunday morning, early morning at 1:47 a.m., the doorbell camera disconnects. At 2:12 a.m., software detects a person on a camera.
At least he can read.
There's no video available. They had no subscription, and therefore it would rewrite itself. It just kind of loops, right, and covers up. That's what our analysis teams have told us. We're not done with that. We'll do all we can, but that's what it says. So it detects a person on camera. Could that be an animal? I imagine that's possible. We don't know that. We just have no video. But we're not giving up on that. 2:28. Nancy's pacemaker app shows that it was a disconnect from the phone.
This motherfucker.
And at 11:56 a.m., the family checks on Nancy, and discovers her missing. And at 12:03 p.m., 911 is called in to the Pinta County Sheriff's Department. I believe it's about approximately 10 minutes later, 12 minutes later, our patrol teams arrive. They see the scene, and we start our response with our search and rescue teams and our detectives from homicide and various units. In fact, every unit here, I think somebody questioned, how come there's an ICAC member out here, or this member? Everybody in our criminal investigations team is a part of this team.
And those people had zero experience, and we have this chump leading. All right, so just keep that in mind. I had to document that. I see some people hopped out of chat. Maybe you guys, maybe they lost interest, whatever. We're at 100 days, and here's what's new with Savannah.
Official, we are making Wordle Game Show with our hosts, Savannah Guthrie. Come on, Savannah.
Oh my gosh.
We can tell everybody.
I know. We've been holding this secret between us for like a long time now. Yes. We were supposed to shoot in March, and I just want to say like a quick just thank you to NBC and to Jimmy. When everything happened with me and my family, they just stopped everything and said, we'll wait for you.
Of course.
And Hollywood is like a really tough business, as you know, and I didn't expect that, and I just want to say thank you. It means so much to me.
Savannah announced her new game show co-hosting gig just one day after posting a heartbreaking Mother's Day tribute, writing, "We will never stop looking for you."
It kind of feels strange to.
So guys, it's no longer a rumor. I know people are probably crap talking and saying, oh my God, I can't believe she's doing a new this or that or whatever. You know what? I do not, and I'm sorry if I get it wrong, I'll apologize. I do not believe Savannah Guthrie has anything to do with it. I think that she did everything she could, in my opinion, and I think that she's been taking her cues from law enforcement and FBI. All right, but this is happening. This is going down. This is what's happening.
Do everything right now.
Aside from these doorbell camera images, which were obtained by the FBI, there have been few leads in Nancy's disappearance.
We need answers.
Which is just one of the reasons Pima County Sheriff Chris Nanos has come under fire in Arizona.
Sometimes I say things and it just doesn't come across right.
It's Mother's Day on Sunday. I was wondering if you had a message to the Guthrie family.
Okay.
You're okay? It's 100 days now almost, sir. Are you guys any closer to solving?
I think we are.
Good, that's good to hear.
After speaking to Fox News Digital on Saturday, the sheriff pulled away in his 2026 Corvette Stingray. The sports car sells for upwards of $70,000.
Damn, he's doing good, isn't he? And he was going to have a reality show, guys. Do you see what the problem is and what's happening here? Savannah needs to be happy. And it's not even about being happy, because she's putting a smile on because that's her job, right? We all have jobs to do. If you're not retired, you got to get up and you got to work to pay those bills, period. All right. Whether she's happy or not, she's doing what she needs to do. And I'm going to tell you right now, if this were my situation and I had money like that, or I didn't have money like that, I would be doing all out search efforts, but I would also go back to work. I couldn't sit there just crying all day. All right. I just can't do it. I'm not. Her mom would not want her to. Exactly. Not only that, you either sit there and fall apart and cry all day, or you do a search and you move on. But how is this guy that didn't even have the right resume driving a freaking 2026 Corvette Stingray? Guys, who in chat? You guys, I want you to put a 1 in chat. What's up, Chief Rucka? Put a 1 in chat if you think that he is part of this or part of some criminal activity in Pima County that's kind of like the stuff in Florida. Because how is he affording that? Just press a 1 if you think Sheriff Nanos has got some dirty laundry that's coming out. He's doing something dirty for money. Let me know, because that's unbelievable.
The sheriff's salary, about $120,000 a year.
He has definitely lost the confidence of the community.
County supervisors are set to vote tomorrow night on possibly removing the sheriff from office. His opponents say it's not about the Guthrie case, instead claiming he lied under oath and misrepresented himself on his resume.
He's embarrassed himself, and it's time for him to go.
The sheriff says what's relevant is his record today and not a rehash of past claims.
I think that turned out pretty good.
I think this fool's I think he's getting big shipments of something across that border, if you know what I'm saying. I think he absolutely has got something going on, and we're going to find out soon, I hope. Now let's hop onto this, because this is not what anyone wants to hear, but I know that there's going to be YouTubers out there and content creators. Now, as of today at 1:54 p.m., blow to the Nancy Guthrie investigation as authorities scale back their efforts 100 days into the case. All right. The investigation into the Nancy Guthrie disappearance has faced a devastating blow as authorities scaled back efforts 100 days after Savannah Guthrie's mom went missing. Experts believe they have definitely scaled back resources in this continued phase. Retired FBI Jason Pack exclusively told Page 6, that's this article, that happens in every case, he says. Add resources at the front end to make sure they can cover what needs to be covered. Pack then went on to explain how the initial response phase likely had a few hundred agents and officers compared to a few dozen at this point in the investigation. All right. So she's been missing. Nancy Guthrie has been missing for 100 days now. And that's her and Cameron. All right. We saw that in the beautiful Mother's Day post. And then lots of leads initially to the tip line. As it falls out of the news cycle, fewer tips come in. The former FBI agent explains. Now, former CIA agent or member and FBI specialist Tracy Walder also believes resources have been scaled back, but theorizing how the investigation has turned from rescue to recovery. You guys know what that means. A body recovery. We're not at this point trying to rescue Nancy from some kidnappers that took her, but instead we're looking to recover a body. All right, the investigation is not a rescue investigation at this point. Walder, who is also a News Nation contributor, said if it's a rescue, then you're going to have more resources thrown at you because you have a living human that can potentially be recovered. At this point, they look at it as recovery and investigating a crime. There's not a sense of urgency. There's not a risk to the public, Walder added. This was specifically targeted towards her. If they thought there was a risk to the public, there would be more urgency, is what this FBI person saying. All right. And they show this failed, the authorities have failed to find this kidnapper, as everyone on YouTube speculates, including myself, who it might be. All right. Now, listen, Walder said that she is not surprised Nancy has not been recovered by the 100-day mark as the kidnapper, guys. And I'm going to pad this. Walder literally says the kidnapper had 9 to 10 hours of a head start. Now, add 9 to 10 hours and 24 to 48 hours of adult services, thinking that somebody just walked away and we're looking for her out in the desert. Add to that 9 hours, and you're talking almost 3 days. All right, we had a local sheriff removed after he was drunk driving, took out the phones, and asked a female officer for oral sex, right? What's up, Millie? Good to see you, my friend. It is definitely free to hit that like button. Auntie Ree, it's been a while. Good to see you. I saw you earlier. I just didn't get a chance to say hello. Yeah, 26 Corvette, 150,000. If he's leasing it, goes for it. Right. And like I said, we're not shy to crimes happening under law enforcement's own eyes and their own hands. We've seen it in Florida time and time again. All right, let's continue. Now, she says they could have had a 9-hour start or 10-hour, but add a couple of days, in my opinion. Nancy was reported missing from her Arizona home on February 1st. We all know this. She failed to attend a virtual church service and was last seen on January 31st when her family dropped her off. Authorities released the video of the masked individuals on February 10th. In April, it was reported that a hair sample had been sent for DNA testing. All right. In this case, we have the hair clipping that has been sent off. I would like to think we would have a result by now, Walder says. I think the fact that there is zero digital evidence, the fact that there is no camera along the highway or road that caught a vehicle or vehicle's license plate, in this case, it seems like there's nothing. I think that's the troubling piece, or the piece that's troubling. All right. And as we continue, a spokesperson for Pima, and this is all new, this just came out, guys. Spokesperson for Pima County Sheriff's Office told Page 6 the Pima County Sheriff's Department remains fully committed to the investigation, blah, 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 blah. Right? That's all I say from them. It's active and ongoing, and we continue to work closely with the partners at FBI. Bullshit. You didn't do it in the first hours, and you withheld evidence. Now, DNA and video analysis are underway and supported by laboratories across the country. Advances in technology are aiding investigative efforts and tips to continue. Now, when we talk about advances in technology, we're talking about that hair. And if there's not a root, which I think there wasn't a root on that hair, they now have advances in technology to still find out where the DNA originates from. And then you can go into genetic genealogy. All right. Walder said Pima County's office statement said, I think that they're doing what they're supposed to do. In my opinion, I think they're just exhausting all options. All right. And then we see the family again. May they get the justice they deserve. And may Nancy rest in peace if she's no longer with us. All right. Walder also told authorities the next step should be genealogical sequencing, which is tracing DNA to the family history, finding license plates, going in and out of her home area, and more. She says, I do think she'll be recovered. I don't know it will happen overnight. I would like to think that will happen, but I'll be optimistic. All right. She also added it only takes one tip. Someone knows the person in that video. Someone knows what happened. Right? That's Savannah returning. We know she returned. And we also know about the new game show because I just showed you. Savannah returned with a warm welcome. Now she's got Jimmy Fallon up there, and they're going to have a game called Wordle. All right? It's strange to get up and do the Today Show. She says it's strange to say that I'm going to do a game show when your heart is broken. Nothing about that has changed. It's not easy, but I'm determined to put one foot in front of the other. And guys, amen to that. I support that. I support that. So on Monday, she announced the morning show, the host, Wordle, which we saw, executive producer is Jimmy Fallon. They've been holding a secret between them for a long time, and that's what it is. So that's what's next for Savannah. I hope that they get all the outreach that they can. Now we're going to talk about what they call twist in the case and what Sheriff Nanos did and what's next. All right, this just came out minutes before I started streaming, and I had plenty of options, but here's where we go. Another twist in the investigation. Are they really getting closer, like Nanos said, day 100?
Initially,
all right,
which didn't really make a lot of sense based on some of the other stuff that I've heard. We'll come to find out, Sergeant Cross now has basically a correction. He called me over the weekend and said he got some new information that was different from what he had initially told me last week. So I'm going to explain the significance of that coming up in this episode. I'm also talking to retired FBI agent, my friend Maureen O'Connell, about the latest on all of this, and also some new information about the possibility of the suspect or suspects going to Mexico, what she thinks about that. And there's also a new message from Savannah Guthrie, just so sad. You think about
which we already saw that. We're going to go past that, okay?
People telling them, oh, she may have walked away, and they're like, no, that's not the case. Well, over the weekend, I heard from Sergeant Cross, who says that he followed up with the detectives, and he says what they actually meant is that Nancy's family thought she may have had someone take her away.
I think that's BS, guys, and it leads me back to the same question about Annie and Tommaso. Okay, Auntie Reese says Savannah has children. She needs some model for. Yeah, everyone needs to live. I'm on Savannah's team. I'm on team good Guthrie. Whoever's doing good and wants their mom back. I hope to God that it's not Annie and Tommaso or that circle of people. But guys, it's just what I'm thinking. It's what I'm thinking it is. And when you look at this, when you look at what's still going on here and who had the most motive and why certain things didn't happen, it kind of gives us answers.
On her own. And I asked exactly what that meant. And he said they did not think that she actually walked away on her own, but instead thought maybe she had some kind of medical issue.
Yeah, but how long did that go for? And that's a relevant question, guys. How long did they think that? It was long enough for adult services to put a card, at least 24 to first 48 hours? Because by the time 3 hours later that Annie called Savannah, she had already said it's not something that she just walked away from, I'm afraid. And then Savannah was like, what do you mean? What are you talking about? Oh, the back doors were open. No mention of the blood. What's up, CB? How you doing? Good to see you. All right. That crew is just the Tommaso crew.
And called an ambulance on her own. So he says what he said initially was not correct. And again, that Nancy's family did not think that she walked off, but instead that she may have left on her own and left in like an ambulance or something like that. And that lines up with what Savannah Guthrie said in her interview with Hoda, which makes a lot more sense. Take a look. Let me just remind you what Savannah herself said.
She was in tremendous pain. Her back was very bad. You know, She was trying to, on a good day, she could walk down to the mailbox and get the mail, but most days not. So there was no wander off.
Yeah, but why did they get the wander off from the beginning? That doesn't make any sense. Annie clearly stated that there was no wander off, and this, I mean, the time frame doesn't even matter at this point what she said to who, but the confusion is the problem. All right, he wanted to clear this up, he said, but that's the problem. Is the first 24 to 48 hours, add 9 to 10 hours on top of that, guys. And now we're talking about, did they take her through the border after she was passed away?
Job, and then I moved back to Florida, several different places in Florida, and finding a doctor I found could always be such a pain. Making an appointment, it can be so annoying.
For sure.
You call, you get put on hold. Many times you even end up talking to someone in a call center. They feel so far away. I wish I knew about ZocDoc long ago, and ZocDoc is the sponsor.
Oh, come on. I know where it goes to, though. It's a long
thing.
Hold on.
He said that slowed things down overall.
Okay, so it did slow things down, but I want to know how many hours it took.
My source who I interviewed.
Okay, so look, the first 24 to 48 hours, first 24 hours after Nancy went missing is when they believe it was a walk-off and how they were handling it. What?
Went missing because remember, my source who I interviewed, who's very close to the investigation, the source who I put in silhouette, the one who I changed his voice, this is from a couple of weeks ago. You can find, if you want to look at it, it's in an older episode. I'll put the link below. But he said the detectives were in fact operating under the theory that Nancy did walk off initially. And he said that slowed things down overall in terms of the investigation right away. So it's all still a bit confusing. But the bottom line is Sergeant Cross says the detectives he talked to clarified what he.
Now, listen, I wonder, and that's a good point, Tucson Girl. Let's just not put any names into it. Let's just say that the person or people that took Nancy Guthrie have not received a dime. They have not received any kind of Bitcoin or any kind of payout or any kind of anything that we know about. So that leaves motive to be jealousy or resentment. Now, you can put anybody in the place of Annie and Tommaso, but now Savannah's got this new gig where she's like the star of this show. Do you think that when the game show starts on day one, or when they start announcing it and it starts like plateauing, that we're going to start seeing more ransom letters, more things to throw her off, more TMZ letters? What do you think? I just, you're right. It had to have been jealousy or resentment if it wasn't money, or was it both?
Initially told me and said that the family thought Nancy had someone, take her away on her own. That's the way he worded it, like an ambulance or something like that. So I'll continue to sort through all of that. Again, I know that it's confusing. Also knew Fox Digital had someone asking Sheriff Nanos questions outside the sheriff's office, which was kind of interesting. Like I think he was like leaving for the day or going to lunch, and they had someone out there like kind of shouting questions at him. And they asked, "Are you closer? Are you any closer to solving the case?" And it was kind of like an awkward moment, an awkward exchange, but he responded, "We are." And then he got into his Corvette and he drove off. But he said,
But we saw that though. We just saw what he said, and it was almost like he was just trying to shoo them away. And it's funny because we're literally quoting him. We've quoted him about 6 times in tonight's episode. Walked off and taken are two very different things. What a bullshit way to try to clear themselves. I agree. Tucson says, that's right, Jay. Savannah's going to make more money and get more attention. Yep. Ding, ding, ding. Yahweh. It makes me mad for Savannah Guthrie to say she had the best caregivers. Please. Barely could walk to the mailbox, lived alone, no subscription, no life alerts. That's been disclosed. Uber to their home. All right, let's continue.
We are when asked if they were getting any closer. So I thought that was interesting because my sources close to the investigation, sadly, have been telling me that they are not much closer in terms of solving the case. Now, that doesn't mean that they're not doing a ton of work behind the scenes. I mean, just like working all day, every day, tracking down every possible tip. But I don't get the sense from my sources that they are getting much closer. Again, there are still tips coming in every day. There were thousands and thousands of tips initially and more tips that come in. And it's not a cold case, but it's just interesting that the sheriff said that they're getting closer. That's not exactly what I'm hearing from my.
Exactly. And you guys saw it. I just showed you right now that he was getting in the car and he said, yeah, he barely even answered. So that question, are we getting closer? We are. Exactly what he said. We are. Right. I want to thank you guys also. Yeah, louder for the people in the back row. Yeah, I heard it. That's exactly what Savannah said. Now, whether you agree with that or not, whether she believed that or not, yes, closer. But you just saw how he answered that, right? It reads differently when I read an article that says Sheriff Nanos says we're getting closer versus what we saw. Yeah, we're closer, right? There's two different things, two way different things. I can't. And I'm looking behind the scenes right now on actual YouTube, and you guys are sending little gifts and things. I don't know if that's new on here. I think Janet just sent me some jewels. I don't even know what that is, but thank you. Whoever sent it. I see Julie Stockmeyer sent flowers for 30 jewels. Thank you. It doesn't come through in on StreamYard.
Sources. Hopefully that changes. I mean, it can literally change in a second. DNA evidence, a hot tip can come in at any moment. It could change all of that. But at this point, unfortunately, I'm told that there's not like a suspect or one specific lead where they feel like they're closing in. Now, also new tomorrow, which is Tuesday, depending on when you're watching this, the Board of Supervisors in Pima County will again have a meeting and take up the issue of the sheriff and decide whether they want to try to remove him.
Okay, so tomorrow is that day. Today, there's supposed to be another press conference by Sheriff Nanos, and I'm curious to see, number one, if that's going to happen, number two, what he says, because tomorrow they're going full force to try to get Nanos out of there. All right. Mr. David says he forgot not part what he should have said was we are not, right? Yeah, he did forget part of it. He just said we are. Yeah. Lady for Justice, thank you so much for the Guilty of Crime membership. If you receive that membership, please thank Lady for Justice. Mr. David, are you in Florida? Are you the Florida Mr. David? Anyway, let's continue.
I'm going to get more into that in a bit and sort of explain what's going on that front, because it's going to be quite a meeting on Tuesday. But first, I want to share my conversation with retired FBI agent Maureen O'Connell, my buddy, where we talk about the latest on the case. Also, this possibility that Nancy could have been taken to Mexico or that the suspect could be in Mexico. This has come up now again. I'm going to explain why. Fox Digital interview.
And not only that, but I mean, when I'm seeing, thank you so much, Lady for Justice. I'm going to gift one membership to match you. Someone wants to match me. We're good. Chief Rocket says media and sheriffs aren't intelligent to screw a light bulb in. Well, you got to say there are some really competent law enforcement officers. There are really competent people and teams in different states. It's not all. This is terrible. Oh, okay. You're different, Mr. David. Okay. What's up, David from Massachusetts? Thank you. Appreciate it.
A retired lieutenant, Dave Smith, of the Department of Public Safety, and who lives in that area, knows that area. And he said, my personal theory is if Mexico was suspected, that would make it a federal investigation. There seemed to be a great deal of effort to keep the feds out of this case. And the best way to do that was to deny any possibility of interstate or international transport of the person's body who was kidnapped, which got me thinking, because I went to Mexico pretty quickly when I was there, I think within maybe 2 weeks to go check it out, because it really is so close. It's like 45 minutes away. And I always thought it was interesting that that they were so quick to say, we don't think Mexico's involved. We don't think, like, how do they, I wondered, like, how do they know that, you know? But what do you think of what this former lieutenant is saying?
I liked that interview with him. I found it very compelling, and he knows the area. He knows it very well. He knows the hurdles you have to overcome in a
Sorry, guys. I was not talking to you. I was a mute on the other side. On a kayak, looking for the soulmate. Oh, yes. What? Oh, Lady for Justice. You got the avocados. You remember the avocados. You heard her pacemaker is still recording, and she was sedated. Pacemaker signaled, and she was carried out to the porch. Okay. I mean, I'm not sure. Where did you hear that from? I'm curious. Welcome to the Guilty of Crime family. Absolutely. Thank you, Marcy.
Investigation like this. He also talked about the high number of cases that do involve an actual walkaway. So they probably didn't think it was
ridiculous, what I think.
If it was a walkaway, then there'd be no need to look at Mexico. But
Right.
once that's ruled out, everything is on the table at this point. With the blood trail ending where the vehicle would.
What do you mean ruled out? Shouldn't that have been ruled out from the first hour?
Pull up. And once we got to the that porch clown,
the porch clown.
with his tactical phallic symbol, all bets were off at that point. I mean,
that's true. So many people in law enforcement that are on the outside of this case are saying that that was a completely staged 2 moments. All right. And she said the fallacy, right? That he put a weapon, a gun down by his, like he's got a big D area. All right. So everything about that seemed to be for us to look at, or for somebody to look at and be scared, to throw us off, to stage the crime, so to speak. All right. Yes, the mighty avocado. Mexico again, but they're also asking the question, which is odd. I saw them talking about, did the kidnapper flee and get away, or did he die? Why would someone think the kidnapper died, or kidnappers? I don't get it. And I'll answer, I'm a boss bitch. My mom had cancer, and not one of my other siblings wanted to take care of her. So I did, and I took care of her before she passed. And after she passed, I handed everything to the youngest of the 5 siblings. Well, prayers for you. Good on you. And I mean, that happens. Yeah, there's a lot of fake news. Be careful.
But I have to tell you again, I really think his costume was designed to frighten. It was overkill, in my opinion. That whole getup. There's just too many aspects of this this investigation that seem like they don't belong here, or they're here for some reason that I can't make sense of.
But it would make sense if the sheriff wanted to keep the FBI from taking control, that you would want to downplay a Mexico possibility, because that's
correct.
That's when someone, I mean, you're retired now, but that's when someone like you would have been able to, you have jurisdiction, right? If it becomes a cross, international line sort of thing.
Not automatically, but you should.
I don't think she believes that. When he asks her that question, she's like, bullshit, bullshit. I don't think that happened. Could the thing be anything could be. Listen, Tucson girl, let's be real. Tucson girl, Sadie's mama, Cuffy, Colleen, everybody in chat, let's be real. 100 days into this, and we don't know shit more about anything. What we do know is that Sheriff Nanos needs to get out of office. We now realize that we lost the first not only 9 to 10 hours, but possibly 24 to 48 hours. There's nothing, and I say nothing, new in this case other than us talking about it and looking at theories and possibilities. If they took her to Mexico, they took her to Mexico because she was dead and it was easier to get rid of her. I hate to say it that harsh, but guys, that's just what it is. I don't think that this was ever supposed to be a kidnapping for ransom. Yes, they probably wanted money from it. There was some motivator. Maybe it was jealousy, and it was an afterthought, and a hoaxer went and sent these to TMZ. But no real kidnapper is going to send their letter to a news outlet, and especially not one like TMZ, and then to Tucson. They don't want them to know. They want Savannah to pay the money and for all of it to go away. Yeah, it's just.
But you should be able to have a conversation. There's something called well, first of all, they have jurisdiction. It's their case. We don't know that they went across state lines, but you can make that assumption, and that assumption has been made hundreds and hundreds of times in all kinds of cases. So yes, there are many instances when that has happened, but the jurisdiction, as a general rule, stays with that department unless they acquiesce to a certain extent. I've been in situations where I haven't been in the command post when it happened, but it transitioned over to us, and the general consensus was because of something just like what you said. So I guess it could go either way. But but I will say that the Bureau was already working the Mexico angle. That's my understanding. That they
remember they said that the Bureau was shut out for the first 4 to 5 days. Nanos completely shut them off. And then about the team had no experience whatsoever with a case of this magnitude, not even the case of a homicide. I'd search, but never pay a dime to fraudsters. Right. That's the thing. What's up, Positive Vibes? Good to see you. I'm glad you're here. Happy Monday. I hope you're having a good one.
Reached out to the Ligat in Mexico, and they had some queries going with the cameras and everything else to see, because those are federal cameras and systems and federal agents that are working that border. Let me ask you something. On that border, my understanding was there were 3 locations within close proximity to Nancy's that they would have used to go over, and all 3 of them had cameras. Is that correct?
Yes, I went to Nogales, which is like the main one.
Yeah, I really am not buying into the Mexico thing, but if we don't ever find her body, then yeah, they probably took the body to Mexico and stayed there, right? However, why are we even talking about Mexico when we haven't even done a proper ground search back there? Guys, I mean, look at this. We're looking at maps like this, getaway maps. How do we know this? And by the way, this is almost ridiculous. All right. This is all we have is this. And we got this almost 95 days in. How come we didn't know about it? Why wasn't it made national? What is going on? All right. That's all we have is that. And the top one's just AI. It's colored AI that people are putting faces to. All right. AI and clickbait. And it's not helping, by the way. It's definitely not helping the case.
And it's a big fortified area, and you can drive right into Mexico. And I actually walked in. We parked, and you can walk right in. There's a little security door you go through, but no one asks you any questions when you walk in. You don't talk to anyone. You don't interact with anyone. You just walk right in. It's really interesting. When you come back into the United States, it's like a whole different ballgame. Obviously it's almost like at the airport, they stop you, they ask you a bunch of questions.
We're going to come back to this in a second. I know I like AI for what I use it for, but I hate the fact that AI now is just a bunch of clickbait, bunch of new channels that aren't real people. It's just getting in the algorithm and just nonsense. And then you can go on to say, that they're doing shit. I'm seeing YouTubers making fun of other YouTubers in AI. It's wild. It's a wild time. Look at this. So I wanted to bring this up only because we've talked about this before. Again, you can't rule a damn thing out at this point, but if you wanted to see what it would look like if someone was to wore a mask like people predicted. Now, this is coming from True Crime Belieber. All right. Since the doorbell images video release, I've always believed the perp was wearing one of these realistic human masks under the ski mask. Now, that would take a whole new level, but take a look. Let me know what you guys think. Sorry, guys. Look at that face. I mean, it is very realistic looking, and if he stops moving it, you might be able to see the eyelids a little better, and nothing's ruled out. But what do you guys think about this? Is there anybody in chat that has the theory that they were wearing a mask? I mean, you can't even tell. Look at the guy. Oh, they didn't even show the guy. Once he put that on and he put that under, I'm surprised at how realistic it actually looks. Watch, let me make it bigger. I mean, if they went that elaborate, man, watch. Once he tucks it under, you can't even see anything. That's wild. And then he puts glasses on. It's weird that they didn't wear glasses, though. All right. Anything could be anything, but it's weird. TMZ Visual Live Inquirer. If you want to pull a crime, I'd send TMZ info. Also, I'd like the old telephone game. The story's going to get screwed up. Well, yeah, but if you're a kidnapper, you would send it to TMZ? What? That doesn't make sense. Yeah, that's a major theory. The eyes, though. I know. I just wanted you guys to see that what people are discussing is so far from this side to this side because we have no new evidence. Now, when you look at this guy and then you look at this, come on, let's be real. Does this really look like a mask to you? It doesn't to me. It doesn't to me. Right? When I'm looking here, I can see the eye underneath. I mean, it just doesn't. I'm not vibing for it. It could be possible. It looks realistic and it's creepy AF. But at this point, guys, we know nothing. If this is what happened in the case, we don't know a thing. I don't think so because the eyes would give it away. It's possible. But yeah, it seems too elaborate for someone that came in the way that they did with the camera. I'm just also talking the way they moved it, the way they did with the twigs. They left their DNA on those twigs as well. So I don't know. It's a theory I can never talk shit about because who knows? All right. Then we got the church. 1 hour ago, the church Nancy Guthrie was believed to watch digitally with her friends on Sunday is reportedly the same church Savannah Guthrie attends in New York, Good Shepherd Church, where Savannah gave her Easter morning speech. Right. According to the church, services began at 11 a.m., which would have been approximately 9 a.m. Arizona time. If services lasted for about an hour, the viewing window would have been roughly from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. Arizona time or 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. Eastern time. Family contacted authorities after concerns grew when Nancy could not be reached, with reports placing that around 12:03 p.m. on February 1st. So the question is, what time did Nancy's friend contact Annie? I do not recall an official release. Not only that, but it's changed so much. So it's a good question. If service ended around 10 a.m. Arizona time, that leaves roughly a 2-hour window before the reported missing person concern escalated around noon. All right. So you can look at it here. This is 11 to 12. They go back to say Eastern time and then Pacific time. And then we look at the timeline, which has completely been botched, in my opinion. All right. Now, 11:56 a.m. That's a good question. What time did Nancy's friends contact Annie, and how long from when they contacted Annie did they get here at 11:56? And why did we previously think they had 51 minutes in between the time? And we know that there was 2 hours in between the time. Again, this all just goes back to Tommaso and Annie. What up? Mabs is in the house. How you doing, buddy? Mabster's doing it up. He's got a lot of you were looking at the church services. This is what I know of the church services. Let me pull this down. What's up, Mab? Good to see you. So that's all we have. I don't know about 2. I can only tell you the Sunday at 11 a.m. Right? And if that's 11 a.m. Eastern, then it makes it totally different with what she said. So I don't know. You hop into Jennifer Coffindovers and she's all for the family, right? All for the family. Then we looked at that. We already saw what retired Lieutenant SWAT commander said. We watched earlier how the natural escape pass could have helped them to escape, right? And then we're still wondering about, is this a bloody shoe print or is this a rolling bag like Monk says? All right. I mean, I definitely see a pattern. I see a shoe pattern, and I've seen that since we talked about the shoe. But now we're thinking of a rolling cart. I don't know. I mean, everything's on the table, I guess, at this point. All right, let's take a look. I just want to get you guys thinking about at 100 days, what happened?
I actually didn't have my passport, which was like crazy, but I had global entry. I didn't bring my passport when I went to cover Nancy Guthrie, but I had global entry, which kind of saved me because I was like in their system and they could see my picture and everything. So it's very difficult getting back into the United States, but in terms of going into Mexico, or God forbid you had someone in your trunk or hidden in your car, most of the time you could just drive right in. There's also areas like of the desert, obviously, where like people would come in on foot and stuff, migrants, and you can avoid those checkpoints if you know the secret ways.
Yeah, let's not tell them the secret ways, Brian. Well, I'm sure they already know. Oh yeah, happy Monday. Guys, don't forget, hit that like button. Mab's going to be doing a live at 7:30 tonight, so about an hour and a half. Go watch him. Now, Mr. Mabster, everything's on the table, and that's what I like about it. You can pick and choose what you think, and hey, he's doing good work over there, so go check it out. Go sub up to him. I do not think we would have been here 100 days later, and I didn't either. But when we look back on it, how could we not be here, right? Good night, Danielle.
And my understanding is there was one route that didn't have cameras, but that hadn't been verified thus far. Did you know that to be true?
I didn't know about that, but I assumed that, just because I used to cover the border in that area, there's ways people can walk in. I don't think it's very easy, especially if you had a 84-year-old woman, you know what I mean? But even if you drove into Mexico, again, there would be no one paying attention. Yes, there'd be cameras, but how would they know what car to identify? If there's no vehicle description right now of who took Nancy, like how would they even begin? There's like thousands of cars probably that go through every couple hours.
They would still know. They would look at the timestamp, and they'd be looking at all those cars after that time for a period of, an extended period of time. They could have had a cooling off period at some place and then went down to the border. They probably wouldn't just roll over right then. They'd have to have some kind of a spot nearby for a cooling off period, I would imagine.
The other thing Aaron Cross said to me, which I hadn't heard him say before outright, was that he believes the FBI should have, that the sheriff should have given the investigation over to the FBI. Which most of the other people, again, that don't even like the sheriff who I've talked to within the department haven't gone as far as to say that. They're, they have pride in their department. They're like, no, I think we could handle it. They were helping us, but Aaron is not.
So tomorrow's going to be a big day, guys. I want you guys to watch out for that. Hey, thanks, badass. Check out Mab. They could have easily, of course they could. Absolutely, they could have easily made it into Mexico. I don't think she was alive. I don't think she lived much longer, guys. And I think that, and I've said it from the beginning, I don't think this was a kidnapping for ransom. Maybe they, as an afterthought, maybe they went in there and thought she was going to have a safe full of money, or it was just an inside job of someone wanting to just really wreck the family. And they wanted to make sure everybody knew about it, including Savannah. So they went to TMZ, local news stations. Guys, if they really wanted to have gotten Bitcoin, they could have gotten it from Savannah initially. All right. They could have done anything. They could have done anything to show proof of life. I even think they could have said, hey, the body's over here, pay us $500,000 and we'll, send you the rest of the map, whatever. All right. He's actually doing better. I have to cook the dog. Yes. Good to hear, Matt. I'm so glad that you didn't have to put your dog down.
Now saying no, I think that they should have handed it over. And the reason he cited is because, and now we heard Kash Patel say this a couple of days ago or last week, that they had hundreds of agents ready to go. Patel says had hundreds of agents ready to go. And Aaron's like, look, we don't have that kind of manpower. The sheriff should have recognized that they just had an army, and why not let them handle it?
That is a reason to turn it over to the FBI, because he obviously cannot get out of his own way.
Yes.
And I don't know if you ever saw the videos of Nanos in I think it was 2016 or something, where he was going on and on about how much he hates the FBI. So this isn't something that we're just pulling out of thin air. All right, you hate the FBI. So what? We have to, take care of our constituents, do everything we can for people when they're missing, especially vulnerable individuals that are members of the community. Let's just come together, leave our egos at the door and get on with it. Because you never know what could have happened in those first 4 days. And to have hundreds of agents and analysts sitting in their hotel, twiddling their thumbs, instead of being with their family, instead of helping the investigation, instead of wasting American dollars, people are there to work, put them to work.
Yeah.
None of that happened, guys. What's everyone up to? We're almost at 2 hours. Thank you for being here. Please do me a favor and hit that like button, subscribe, get yourself a membership, gift a membership. I'm going to gift one right now in a minute here. I missed this. I really want to show you this 4-minute clip, and then I'll come back to this because there's a lot of information about Nanos that I want you guys to know by the time we get there. But this tells you in 4 minutes what the hell happened.
Today marks 100 days since Nancy Guthrie was abducted. The information
not the same.
Anchor
This is
breath. We will never stop looking for you. We will never be at peace until we find you. Guthrie followed up with a plea for help, saying, quote, "We need help. Someone knows something that can make the difference." As the search for the 84-year-old reaches this point, the work to find answers continues behind the scenes.
13 News reporter Tallulah Page is live at Nancy Guthrie's home. So Tallulah Page, what's it like out there and what's the latest on this investigation?
Yeah, Carson, Madison, in one word, it's really quiet out here. It's quite different than how it was in February, back when we were covering this every single.
That's why I want you to see the latest up-to-date information and what's happening. All right, butter my nug, these people. Okay, so tomorrow, guys, sorry, Jay, I tried. You tried what? It's all good. It's all good. We're all good, guys. I'm going to gift the membership here in a minute, and happy Monday. I'm looking forward to Vegas. But guys, we're at day 100 here, and we don't have a body. We don't have a suspect. We don't even have a person of interest at this point. And what happened to the people that were detained anyway? All right, let's continue. This is not a news lady. This is that's Maureen. That's Brian Enton's FBI source, right?
Day. But as you can see, this neighborhood has not lost hope. There's several fresh flowers, a new message that kind of acknowledges Mother's Day.
Tomorrow.
And just a lot of other messages that the community wants to share as investigators work to bring Nancy Guthrie home. As you can see, even in the driveway, there's no sheriff's department vehicle that had been parked during the very beginning of this investigation. But not only has it been 100 days since Nancy Guthrie was last seen here at her Catalina Foothills home, it's also been 95 days without a live briefing from the sheriff. I spoke to former FBI agent Scott Augenbaum, who says that the silence we're hearing this morning could be a strategic move. He tells me that at this stage, the lack of updates doesn't necessarily mean a lack of progress.
I think that's all bullshit, guys. Straight up. All right. I think that they know that what's happening behind the scenes. 95 days. We haven't heard anything in 95 days. And that's why we're here doing what we're doing. All right. Tomorrow, hopefully we're going to get an update on Nanos. They want him out. If you watch the beginning of my episode, you'll see that. You say Savannah asks for help, but this family ever helped search themselves. That's what I can't comprehend that either. I just can't. I cannot comprehend that. I don't know. All right, here's what this spokesperson is saying from Pima County.
Our primary case agents, that is their sole responsibility.
Okay, that's a former FBI director. Let's see what he's saying about it being so quiet. Guys, that's not a strategy, in my opinion.
Is to see this case through. We're probably not going to really hear much until somebody is indicted. You don't want to tip off the hands of the suspect. If the suspect's out there now, you don't even want them to think anything is going on.
That's true. But
right now, the investigation might seem to be at a standstill in the public eye as daily updates have stopped and no leads have been shared. Still, law enforcement says advanced DNA and video analysis is still underway at labs across the country. Recent comments from the FBI director, Kash Patel, points to the different logistical approaches being taken in this case. Last week, Patel criticized PCSD's speed in involving the FBI and sending evidence to labs in Florida instead of the FBI lab in Quantico.
And guys, that's just one of the many complaints, all right? Nancy Grace did a complete episode this weekend or Friday about Kash Patel versus Chris Nanos, right? And it's a head-to-head for Nanos. His ego is definitely gotten in the way. Mab says, one effing rootless damn hair. Yeah, that's the thing. And they're relying on technology, the latest technology, to find that DNA without the root. All right. I've always thought that the son-in-law owed the cartel. Well, here's the thing. The son-in-law is a gambler. We don't know about his, thank you, Sid. We don't know about his gambling debts or cartels or any of that. But we do know that he's surrounded by some pretty shady characters. And one of those characters is going to trial for sending two messages, one to Annie, one to Tommaso, saying, "Where's my Bitcoin? I'm getting sick of waiting." And then a follow-up 9-second phone call. All right. That's what we do know. Yeah, Clash of the Titans. Yep. I saw that. I was gonna play that today, but I was like, yeah, we can do the Clash of the Titans here without that.
Sheriff Nanos responded to the comments in a statement saying, in part, the FBI was promptly notified by both our department and the Guthrie family. While the FBI director was not on scene, coordination with the Bureau began without delay. He goes on to say that the laboratory utilized by the Pima County Sheriff's Department and the FBI laboratory in Quantico have worked in close partnership from the outset and continue to collaborate in the analysis of evidence. Augenbaum, who's not involved in this case but has decades of experience in federal investigations, says Patel's comments point to the high-stakes nature of this search. He says the investigators on the ground are likely ignoring the noise from the suits to focus on the leads and bringing Nancy.
And you know what? This could absolutely be the case, Midnight Lace. Listen, so far we've had all kinds of people. We've had a slew of characters detained and released. All right. We all asked the questions. Why does FBI keep going back to Annie and Tommaso's? Why is Tommaso hiding out? Why did he go to Italy and then come back and continue to cover his face? But that's an absolutely good thing to say. I should say Bitcoin, but how did they know it was Bitcoin? I wonder if that is the particular coin that they asked for, number one. And number two, the guy that sent that, your secret mutilator that sent that, found Annie and Tommaso's number, sent that over, and is going to trial for sending those messages. Do you think they have more on him and they're just not telling us? That's a good point. Hey, Vince from Wisconsin, how you doing, buddy? All right. Yeah, that's interesting. I wonder if they do have one of those suspects that they've got emergency search warrants and detained, but they're just not telling us.
See Guthrie home.
As more time goes on, more finger pointing goes on. I worked on a number of investigations where in the management level, there was a lot of fighting, but the investigators are still working together. The investigators do not care who's the one that solves that lead.
For now, experts say that the best thing that the public can do is stay patient and also remain vigilant as this process unfolds. For more details about how you can help and continue to give law enforcement those details they need to bring Nancy Guthrie home.
All right, so we're going to continue with the discussion of FBI when they came in, how late it is, and if we're more than likely looking for a body, and Nanos costed her life. Her life was in his hands and he just didn't move quick enough. There's never been a sense of urgency ever. And now we know that they botched not only the first 24 to 48 hours, but because his ego kicked in, but we're also learning, I did not know that they treated this case as a walkaway, and for how long. Mab, I want to ask you that question. Did you know they were treating it as a walkaway? Trotter daughter, have my popcorn ready for the results. Yes. 40 million, but cannot afford a subscription. Yeah, but I don't think that's the case, Mab. I think the case is that what happens is it lapses. And I say that because it's happened to me with several different subscriptions. I run subscriptions at home. I run two different subscriptions at home, one for one part, one for another one at work, one for one part inside, one for one part outside. And sometimes you'll get like credit card fraud and you forget about all the accounts that need to be paid. So then it goes unnoticed. The email gets sent and you don't even realize that your subscription lapsed. I'm only saying that because I don't think that Savannah made a conscious decision to not pay the $14.99 a month or whatever. All right. This case has had everything: ransoms, crooked sheriff, odd family, Wiccans, fetish fest, flowers, single lady, mean neighbor. Yeah, right. Mexican people, Mexico.
Make it work. I don't know that I've ever seen a director, and I'm talking all the way back to Waco and the other one where it was an ATF operation that went completely south, and then the Bureau came in to do, work it or clean it up, however you want to say it. And then we got blamed for the whole entire thing.
I'm going to gift a membership.
Okay. The director still didn't go after the other agency. So this was out of the norm. But I'm telling you, Brian, with Kash Patel being the way he is and outspoken and like a bit of
a bulldog,
not a cowboy, but kind of that kind of cowboy attitude. If I were him, I would ask the Guthrie family to send in the FBI's ERT team and redo that entire house from stem to stern, front to back, every outbuilding, everything, and do it as a training exercise for all the best ERT teams in the country, and let's see what they come up with. And I bet they come up with anything anyone would want.
Right. Well, we'll just bring aliens into it, and I hope anybody that wanted a membership got one today. Yeah, right. Might as well bring aliens because she just disappeared. And it's easy to say stuff like that. Like, yes, we got cameras on our property, trail cams, etc. But it's easier said than done. All right. It's easier said than done, and something could have lapsed. I don't think they purposely did that. But we may find out that they purposely did. And not Savannah, because Mab said Savannah's worth $40 million but can't keep a subscription. Savannah wasn't the one taking care of her mom, and we all know that. She said the people taking care of her mom are Annie and Tommaso, and they're so good, they're so great, they're so loving, and that's the only reason she could stay in that house behind me was because of them. So those two things don't really correlate. That Savannah's worth $40 million, but what if Annie and Tommaso purposely let it lapse so that they couldn't catch everything? Yes, welcome new members, and I'll take a look at my email in a second. All right, let's continue.
Well, because they eventually got in, remember, on day 5. I think it was day 5. We saw.
But it had to be some kind of a truncated thing, don't you think? It was that
wasn't a couple hours. Remember, it was fast.
Yeah, that's not what I'm talking about.
What are you talking about? You're saying more.
I'm talking about a full complement of, 15 to 30 FBI agents doing the outbuildings, the garage, the everything, her whole house, the front door, take the freaking mat. And I saw in the comments last time, someone said, don't get Maureen started on the mat. And I thought, you're damn right. Don't get me started on that mat.
You said you would have taken that mat.
I would have taken that mat.
Of course.
I would have taken a Sawzall and taken that whole, either the front door or at least the door handles.
That's true too. See, all of that's true. We should do a Jack and Lily update, and I've seen Jack and Lily, and what's his name seems to be in hot water. Daniel's running his mouth some more, but tomorrow I have to do an update on Eve Rogers. And you want to know why? Does anyone remember who Eve Rogers even is? If you don't, please go to my playlist and watch the Eve Rogers case. Guys, this is another Jennifer Soto / Casey Anthony situation. All right. I'm telling you right now, I wasn't even looking at it in that way until I got an anonymous message from people that trusted Eve Rogers' mom, Melanie, with a GoFundMe. Remember, I always tell you guys, when we're doing a case and a GoFundMe just comes out, I don't like to give it to you guys. I don't put it out there until I can verify that the people that put it out there or the person is not involved in the crime. Well, somebody sent me an anonymous letter, and they say that Eve Rogers' mom was totally involved in the crime. And not only that, capitalizing on it, putting a GoFundMe to exploit. And when I read the message, it will make more sense to exploit her and to use the continued situation to get money. Now, that's one of the worst cases I've read. Eve Rogers is a little girl that the stepdad got arrested for graping. They found 3 DNA matches on her, one of them being her stepdad, 2 others, meaning they might have been just selling her. They might have been trafficking her. Guys, they found 3. And then and right before that, they caught her in a liquor store at 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the morning, a 12-year-old stealing energy drinks. Guys, you can't make this stuff up. When I get a message like that, I've got to take it seriously. So Eve Rogers it is. And we've got a whole bunch of other cases. We've got the Italy case coming up. The man fled to Italy that was supposed to go on trial for killing his wife and I believe unborn child.
What Steve Moore said too. And for people who don't know, you're talking about the doormat where the blood was. Later, we saw that the mat was still there.
Right.
And Steve said the same thing, that he would have taken a saw and even taken all the tiles, the ground.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. So
in that regard, we turn into firemen. Firemen and any kind of fire department, they're known as evidence destroyers. That's what we call them as a joke, because they'll just come in and just take axes to windows. That's what they have to do to put down fire and stuff. But they'll do it to rescue people, and they just love just breaking stuff down. They're all like a bunch of boys, grown men that are really little boys playing with trucks, and they just want to, get dirty and get muddy. But when it's time to start cutting things down, you can see who the guys are on your team that really love that stuff, because here comes the Sawzall and they're revving it up, and we're doing, we're taking out a door or a floor or something like that. We did a lot of that for when Whitey Bulger was found in Santa Monica. And
that's crazy. Here's another thing too. Not only the doormat, but they left those damn flowers out there, guys, or the shrubbery, whatever that was. That person at the front door had the bite light was also touching the bite light with his gloves and had saliva. It was using that saliva and touching things with it, including the door, possibly the knob. Like she said she had to taken the whole knob if she could have. And they released that house prematurely and had to go back to it. All right. But you spelled it wrong. It's Rogers. Rogers. Thank you, though. It's Eve Rogers. No D in it. Unless I spelled it wrong.
And, I called the ERT team, and I'm like, bring everything you've got, man. We're going to be taking down walls, floors, everything.
Yep.
We're going to have some fun. Good, clean, wholesome fun.
That's
after,
what happened.
most of the work was done.
It's interesting what you say, though, that you think what your thoughts on Kash Patel's comments were either A, that it's worse than we think in terms of what just the sheriff and how disorganized it was and what a mess it was, or B, that he's trying to save face because they have nothing. Is that what you meant?
Yeah, the case may be in worse shape than we even suspected, which it just kills me.
Yeah, it's awful.
Because it was to a certain extent preventable. Am I saying that the CSI team at Pima County Sheriff's are terrible? No. But I mean, it sounded like this was a heater case. It was a hot case from the get-go. You had all these politicians involved, and everybody's breathing down your throat, and they're telling you, just do what you can, get what you can, or whatever. But honestly, Brian, I do not believe that I cannot believe that it's true that all they have is one hair without a root. I cannot believe that that's all they have. I won't. Someone's going to have to prove that to me. But if that was the case, and we were getting ready to say we're done, and my boss said, well, what do you have so far? What do we got here? And I'd say, well, really nothing except, a couple sets of fingerprints and one hair. He's going to say, we're not going anywhere. Start over. What do you need? Who do you need to be here on your team? Are you missing some team members? Do we have specialists we can call in? We're not leaving here with just some fingerprints and one hair. That is not happening.
Well, hopefully they have, like you said, there's a lot we don't know. So hopefully, we've heard about the hair, the rootless hair, but hopefully there is more.
Well, even with the rootless hair, they'll be able to get mitochondrial DNA, and that's the mother's line. So they should be able to get something.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. So Aaron Cross he actually said shit show. He described the initial response as just chaotic and said the whole first week was chaotic. And that's what the detectives are saying. Would that impact the amount of evidence and the way evidence was collected?
Well, first of all, why was it chaotic? Because that's a leadership problem. If you're giving a talk to your guys and you can see that people are freaking out or whatever, which I've never seen before. These are trained professionals in large part. If it's chaos, why is it chaos? Probably because there's the shitstorm going on up above and everybody can.
Of course it is. But guys, I wanted to bring this out real quick before we move on. I'd love to do more with it. I'd love to talk more about it, but it's a big conversation. Thank you, Judy, for sending that over. I absolutely knew that the McDonough and team did a long almost 4-hour interview. Why the delay? And then detectives expose critical gaps. My goodness, they did a great job with that. And then you also sent me the sleuth intuition. There's a lot into that, but yeah, Matthew Daly. If you're still here, Mab, you can tell me about Matthew Daly and who he is. I don't know why people keep saying that about him, but let's take a look at this for just a moment, and then it's already 2 hours and 30 minutes, guys. Yeah. Right. Check this out. I just want to see what they're talking about.
But now there's an internal step that she has to step up on.
Okay, hang on. I just had this thought.
Hold on.
So let's assume her car is parked in that spot.
Yep.
Typically, if she's dropped off, now it's a much smaller area to get out of the car, her daughter's car, and to pass her car and get in using a cane.
Which you brought up the next point we're going to point out. Look at the positioning of the car. Okay. It's almost in the way of getting clearly to that door.
Correct.
So I find the positioning of the car really interesting for somebody who is having a difficult time because of age, getting around.
But this is after the car was returned by law enforcement, correct?
No, this is the FBI evidence response team in this picture.
Oh,
this would have been in the first couple of days of
So
the
it was
investigation.
before they
correct?
removed
Before it was towed.
Either
They haven't
before
even
they towed it.
They haven't even towed it.
Okay, so
Your guys, Maureen.
so Nancy,
They're not dressed
Nancy-
like PRT people.
hold on.
They've got the black trucks out in front.
let's assume
And-
Nancy parked the car there. And go back to that picture with the car. She's parked it in a way. She's got plenty of room. She's got a couple feet over to the right side,
Right,
but she
there's-
parked it fairly close to the door and in direct line with the door. And so I would think that she does that routinely. And she gets out, she uses her cane. She might even, have the car parked that close in the event that she falls, and she can fall up against the car. And then she makes that step up into the door.
Although I don't know why, but I saw them picturing Annie and Tommaso on here. Judy, if you're still in chat, I'm wondering what their take is on this. If you know what their take is, because it's not summarizing it for me right now. I was trying to find it, but I'm not going to listen for 3 hours. They did do a fantastic job here, but it looked like they were pointing fingers at Annie and Tommaso.
Well, he forgot to say, but he was my guy. Okay. He didn't say, anything other than that. So he gave the impression to the public that it was a member of the FBI. No, it was a task force member assigned to the violent crime task force that the FBI operates. Okay. The gang task force, the one you used to run in LA. And explain a little bit of those dynamics, Maureen, about, how that operates as a whole.
Being on a task force with other agencies?
Yeah.
Oh, it's fantastic. It's just wonderful work. You get to work so many different things. You're just a team. You have to build bridges. I'm
going to drop this link for you guys. You should definitely take a look. I like that they're not going all sideways conspiracy theory. And at this point, it comes down to this, guys. I put the link there. You guys should go over and check out the interview room. Hours and hours and hours worth of coverage by all these great experts and people that you know so well. We just saw Maureen O'Connell. This is important. The exact 3-hour window and why that matters. It's timeline inconsistencies and behavioral red flags, and the emotional toll on the family and the latest updates, right? So, I mean, I was trying to find in here where they were questioning Annie and Tommaso, but I just can't. If I'd had time to look at this before, I would have. But I mean, look at the timeline here. They're going to talk about that January 31st, 9:48. Nancy's dropped off, and then 2 minutes later, her garage door closes. Does that mean that she's all the way in the house? No. It just means maybe she walked through and they used their clicker. Her doorbell camera rings or is manually disconnected at 1:47. And then 2:12, security software detects movement. No video was saved. Her pacemaker monitoring app disconnects from her phone. A key indicator of when she may have been taken, about 2:28 in the morning. So, I mean, they're going like deep into this for hours and hours and hours. And if I knew about this, I would love to have do it. I would love to have covered it. Here's another. He has no idea what he's talking about, but he's talking to someone that was detained.
You want? Can you say who?
No, I don't have that name.
Okay. And
I'm going through some talking points for the family. I want to make sure I cover them. I'm not somebody who does well with a script.
Okay, so now this becomes really, really interesting when we hear a press conference starting off with, I'm going through talking points for the family, and I don't do well with a script.
He doesn't do well off the cuff either, but
I get it. Right.
You know, I took my class on
appreciate you.
PIO at the FBI National Academy from an excellent instructor named James Vance. And if Jim was still there, he's retired now, but if he was still there, I guarantee you he would use this entire case on how not to conduct a PIO operation on a case.
All right, how not to conduct a PIO, and if there's an actual real kidnapping, what not to do, right? What not to do as a kidnapper. If you want to get your money, you want to get some kind of financial gain, don't send your ransom notes to the news, all right? On that note, you guys should go over, check that out. Thank you, Cuff You, all the mods, everybody that turned out today, helped with the memberships. Guys, we're going to be here all week, all right? It's only Monday. We've still got Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, and I've got already cases lined up for you. So, that being said, I'll look through all this stuff. If there's something significant, then I'll do an update on what happens with Nanos. If there's not, then obviously I'm not just going to come on and keep regurgitating this. But yeah. All right. So we need to find out who in the hell this person is. And somebody asked, why is it taking so long? Guys, just keep referring back to the David case. Keep referring back to the David and Celeste case and understand that they have to work behind the scenes and not tell us what they're doing so that these people don't catch wind and run off. Okay? So we're going to pray that Nancy Guthrie gets brought home. Thank you, Tucson Girl, for being here. Sadie's mama, much love. Trotter daughter, you guys have a wonderful night. I love you, and we have new cases coming. Yes, we got to advocate for others. You know how we do here. All right, guys, love you. Thank you. Like, share, subscribe, and hype if you get a chance to. All right? Good night. Out Nanos. You got that right. Let's get Nanos out of there and start doing some real work. Freaking StreamYard. All right, guys, love you. StreamYard's being weird again. Good night.
Guilty of crime.
I want to thank you for watching. If you enjoyed my content, please share this video, like, and subscribe. You can also follow me over at Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, X, or Gmail. If you'd like to donate to my channel, you can use Cash App or Venmo or PayPal. Thank you very much in advance. Guilty of crime.